This is the Dallas Cowboys Pepsi Postgame Show. Pepsi, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, here's Zach Wolchuk and Brian Broaddus.
And the Bears left to right at the 35-yard line. Go with an I formation. Williams with a toss right to Swift. A flea flicker back to Williams, and he's going deep, and he's got a man behind everybody, and it's Burton at the 20, and Luther Burton dances in for the 80-yard, 65-yard Chicago touchdown.
Yeah, it was a lot of that. A lot of big chunk plays for the Chicago Bears as the Cowboys fall to 1-2. Bears get their first win of the season as they embarrass the Cowboys at home. 31-14 at Soldier Field there. It was 24-14 at the break, Brian. And the Cowboys came out. They got the football to start the second half. And 7 plays later, they had to punt. Yeah. And as soon as they had to punt, that felt like that would be all she wrote. And the Bears went on a 19-play, 76-yard drive.
Unbelievable.
Taking off about 10 minutes off the clock to go up 31-14. Dak had an interception. Bears had to punt. Cowboys had another interception. Bears had to punt. Cowboys had another interception. Yeah. And then you ended the game. And that's how the second half unfolded, as is the official post-game show of your Dallas Cowboys, brought to you by Pepsi, made for Cowboys watching. And if you want to use with the pros, use Jack Black as the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit getjackblack.com today. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus, 877-881-1053. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text as we unpack this one with you for the next 3 hours. But Brian, I don't know how much there's to unpack. Your defense just is really bad.
Yeah, your defense, and going into this, you kind of felt like it was going to be a shootout game. And I felt like that the Bears had problems in the secondary, and it looked like initially that you might be able to take advantage of them, but CeeDee gets hurt on that the jet sweep, and maybe it takes you out of it, but you kind of felt like, okay, Dallas has got enough. They've got George Pickens, they got Fergie, they got Turpin, maybe Tolbert can kind of get some things going there. Maybe, gets the secondary that was really much maligned, that was really banged up. 2 of their best players not even playing. And so you're thinking, well, okay, that'll be fine. Dallas will figure it out. And they really, really didn't. Now, the turnovers were huge in this game. The fact that Dallas had to punt a couple different times was huge. And the Bears, as you mentioned, that 19-play drive, 76 yards, 7 first downs along the way with the mix of run and pass. And, Dallas clearly is a defense that, there's not a whole heck of a lot to say about it. It's just, it doesn't rush the passer particularly well. The cornerbacks, the zone coverage stuff that they have played, I know like 30 minutes after the game here, we'll get the updates from the next-gen people. How much zone did he really play in this game? He might be in a situation where he's absolutely terrified about blitzing and about playing man coverage with these corners. Maybe he doesn't feel like he has the man cover corners, so he sits in that zone. But when you play at depth and you allow free access, we saw Diggs. I mean, he was trying to play a little bit of some press. He was up there jammed. Footwork was a little bad. Slips, and so now, you're in a situation where it's a huge play. So they've got some issues. They've got some big issues because of personnel or lack of. Mm-hmm. And then they have some issues though with the play caller himself and maybe a lack of confidence in his defense. Right.
And I think, everything that I've seen on social media and a lot of the texts coming in, and we will get to your calls, don't you worry. You got to fire the defensive coordinator. Time to fire Matt Eberflus after 3 games. Now, I did a little homework assignment. I don't believe the Cowboys have ever fired a defensive coordinator in season. Mike Nolan was let go after the season. Rob Ryan was let go after the season. They've made a head coaching firing in Wade Phillips, who is also the defensive coordinator. But that's really all you've got. The Cowboys don't have a history of doing that. And I will say in Flus's defense, We had similar conversations about Mike Zimmer at the beginning of last year.
Yeah, with the Saints in the Baltimore game, for sure.
Lions game, they get blown out. There was a lot of ugly on that defense, and then things got correct in the back half of the season. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we have pointed the finger at the defensive coordinator a lot, even going back to Dan Quinn after that Green Bay game. At some point, is it the coordinator or is it the personnel, Brian?
I think there's I know I got in this discussion, and people, like you mentioned, I was on Twitter during the game and talking to people. I'm not defending Flus because, like I say, if you don't have confidence in your guys, then that's a huge problem. That is a huge problem,
and he might not be any good. It might not be a good fit,
and it might not be a very good fit at all. And some people in the organization talked about getting rid of Micah Parsons. That and Matty Flus, I'm sure, was in the conversation. Did it make him a better run defense? Added Kenny Clark, you get the picks? Sure, you get all those things. But did it make your defense worse when it came to playing pass defense?
Sure.
And so that's kind of where I was when we had this discussion when the trade happened that night. We were on air, and I'm saying I'm going to be the one guy that's going to stand up in the room, and I'm not saying this as a pat on the back, but I'm just asking everybody, like, listen, if we're going to be a team that's going to be good on offense and score points, how are we going to finish these games? Well, they don't have any pass rush, and they really are relying on guys that this is where they probably made the trade with this in mind. Yes, we add Kenny Clark. Yes, we add 2 first-round picks. Yes, we are probably going to be trading a player away that can make a difference. But maybe the biggest mistake was that they felt like that the current defensive ends they have could make up. Matt Eberflus even said it himself. Stephen Jones said it himself. We can manufacture pass rush.
Right.
That is from the furthest from the truth right now when you look at this defense. They are not manufacturing anything. And it's probably a lot to do with the fact that they really trusted Fowler. They really trusted Williams. Mm-hmm. They trust Donovan Ezeraku.
Yep.
And they trust Marshawn Nealon. And maybe that's why you go out and get Clowney. I don't know if Clowney's this magic wand that makes everything better.
I would find that hard to believe.
I would too.
I don't think one player's saving the day there.
I just tell you, to me, Diggs looks banged up. Mm-hmm. But also, Diggs doesn't look like he wants to be out there playing either.
Not at all. I mean, the body language speaks for itself, and I get it. They just traded away his best friend. But as much of the whispers as we had heard about Micah, that some thought, okay, do we want to give him and pay him all this money?
Sure.
There was a lot, I think, of feelings about Diggs. I think that, and you heard it from the front office at training camp.
Yeah.
The frustrations about Trayvon Diggs.
I admire him for going out there and trying to play. I totally respect that, but man, they are in a world of hurt with the way that they play defense, and especially with the lack of pass rush, no blitzing, and then the secondary in the shape it's in. You don't have anybody really on the back end at safety that can cover, and you don't have anybody on the outside. Now, Elam, we'll see if you get Bland back, then that maybe makes things a little bit better. But man, to me, Diggs looks very disinterested right now in playing, and I'm not blaming it all on him. Matt Eberflus has, but the front office. I think the biggest misvaluation here was that they could get this similar pass rush. I should say it this way: Micah Parsons.
You could piece together production
exactly, and they even talked about it that they could manufacture pass rush. They have yet to manufacture pass rush.
And I'll raise my hand and say that I'm guilty of that. Dante Fowler had 10 sacks last year with Washington. Best pass rusher opposite him was Dorrance Armstrong. We know Dorrance. Good player. Great player? No. So it's not like he had a Micah Parsons that was helping him go get 10 sacks. We've seen Sam Williams be a productive pass rusher in this league. We loved what we saw from Donovan Ezeraku, not only out of college, at Boston College, but in training camp. Unfortunately, none of that, and it's been so disappointing. Probably the biggest disappointment is the lack of pass rush, and against bad offensive tackles, Brian.
Yes, yeah.
That's what really hurts.
Yeah.
There is no reason for Jordan Hudson and backup linemen for the Giants to be able to work guys. Braxton Jones was the mark. You told us all week coming in. Dante Fowler's making him look a Pro Bowl type player.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing the lack of pass rush they have right now.
Yeah, it is. It is that is a big problem. And I felt like too what I was really worried about was the skill players on the Bears, and then all of a sudden this quarterback kind of figuring out, but running the ball.
Yeah,
didn't have to run the ball. Did not have to run the ball because there was nobody that was able to take care of Braxton Jones, as you mentioned, and Darnell Wright had a very, very comfortable game as well.
Yeah. And 3-6-0, hey, the offense scored how many points? We knew the defense was a concern, but what about the offense today? Well, look, the offense didn't move the ball in the first half. I'm not absolving the offense here.
No.
But I do think the bigger issue in this game, it wasn't the offense. It was the defense's inability to get any stops. And the big plays they gave up.
They both had a hand in this because they needed the offense to score 35 points today.
And they did.
And they're going to need every game for the offense to score 28, 30, 35 points.
You're going to have to be like Cincinnati was last year.
That's exactly what it's going to be. We are not, hey, trust me. There was how many times did we talk about, and I'll be interested to see how many times they went after Nick McLeod in this game at nickel. People were wearing him out. There were teams that had perfect quarterback ratings against him. Was CeeDee out of the game that much of a detriment to them not being able to attack some of these cornerbacks for the Bears?
I guess I don't know that you have another wide receiver that is as lethal out of the slot as CeeDee is. I don't know that that's necessarily George Pickens' best attribute.
No.
Turpin made a couple of plays.
Sure.
But you're right. They weren't able, and maybe it was. Maybe that was lost. I think that this was an eye-opener of just how darn good CeeDee Lamb is.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of texts coming in like, oh, this $33 million receiver. I think CeeDee's on a streak of 4 or 5 straight games with 100-plus yards.
Yeah.
Like, offensively, you saw there was explosiveness now taken away because of CeeDee Lamb. And a lot of questions we're getting on, and I do think this is something where it's like hindsight, it's easy to say, but I didn't love at that point in the game when Javonte Williams is just ripping off good chunk runs. Now we're going to get cute and give CeeDee Lamb the ball out of the backfield, and it resulted in a bad ankle sprain for him.
Sure did. Yep, absolutely did.
877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. Let's get to the phones as we continue to unpack some of this one. Let's go to Derek in Brooklyn on line 2. Derek, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, fellas? Yeah, I don't really blame Eberflus for what's going on. You know, you have 2 corners. Your last 2 drafted corners are both hurt. Diggs is playing at 75% and Bland is out. So I understand that, but you got to figure something out because you are getting killed in the pass defense. You have no pass rush.
Yeah.
You continue to refuse to play your best pass rusher in James Houston. You're not making any adjustments. I don't know what's going on, but this is terrible.
Yeah, we know what's going on is you're right. There's no pass rush. It's not we don't know what's going on. It's like you're playing a lot of zone coverage because you're terrified that your guys can't play man coverage. You're scared to blitz because you don't have a blitzer per se. Is there anybody? I mean, if Overshown was in the game, if Overshown was playing, maybe you would feel a little bit better about that. Maybe you would feel a little bit different about that. But I'll tell you what, though, it has been a struggle for them to get any kind of pass rush, and I think that puts the defensive backs in a bad spot. But also, I just wonder, I'd like someone to tell me, Matt Eberflus, if you'd like, are you terrified to playing some man coverage with your guys? And just try and sell out for some of the blitz stuff. But they tried to blitz Clark today.
They did,
and you didn't get home.
No, and I think they were playing man on the Luther Burden touchdown, maybe the Adunze touchdown. When we go back and look at it, I think honestly, I think Flus was trying to mix and match some stuff. We saw again the slot blitz from Reddy Stewart.
Yeah.
One play, it was great. He timed it perfectly to stop a run for a tackle for loss. The other time, I think Caleb Williams stepped up, then slid to the right, and then threw over the middle to convert on a 3rd down. But, yeah, even trying to bring pressure. Now, again, I would love to see them do it with Marist Liufau.
Yeah.
I believe that Marist is their best weapon outside of Overshown to be able to do that. He has a knack for timing, and I haven't seen them use Marist at all in that way.
No, not at all. But they need to find a way to bring that 5th rusher.
Yeah.
And they just have not.
All right, let's go to Harrison in Mesquite. Harrison, what's going on?
Hey, disappointment. I'm sorry, but I believe man-to-man is going to be their best defense. That zone with Hooker and Wilson back there, they lost. And everybody should have expected this. I don't know why we disvalue Parson. He's a stud. and a generation player, and we can see that. But I'm not sold on the defense coordinator. I'm sorry. He might have to go, and he might have to go during the season. But there's no way Dak them have a chance with that defense. Your front seven is playing the bus off and run in the first half, and when it comes third down, you can just hang your hat, forget about it, because the cornerbacks are lost. The secondary are lost. Hopefully they get Al Harris tonight on the plane, because it's been a problem ever since Al Harris been gone. I'll hang up and listen, fellas.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Al Harris. I'm with you, Harrison. But, I mean, again, Al Harris was on the staff last year. The first half of the season, the defense was terrible. Now, I don't know that it's going to get corrected like Zim got it corrected.
Sure.
Time will tell. But
it might get corrected when players come back.
Yeah, Bland can help. Ravel, who knows? That's an unknown. We liked him coming out of the draft.
He could play man coverage.
Could be great. He could be bad.
Yeah.
Josh Butler coming back. He looked good prior to his injury last year. But again, I mean, you're expecting guys that are coming off of ACL injuries to come back, and that's hope. We're really just hoping.
They misevaluated the edges. They really, really did misevaluate what the edge game could bring. And it's not, and maybe you have the same problems with Micah Parsons. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe not. You know, I mean, he's that type of player. He could be disruptive, and we all know that. But, you know, maybe you have the same issues. Maybe Micah Parsons just almost getting home, you know, and creating pressure, but all of a sudden the ball is thrown in the secondary, and now it's, you know, there's just way, way, way too many open receivers in the secondary.
It's bad.
Way too many open.
And it's not discrediting Micah. Micah's a phenomenal player. Micah's one of the top defensive players in all of football. The Packers are lucky to have him.
Right.
And the Cowboys, we've talked about this at length. They had every intention of paying him. Things went south. They moved on. Big picture, is any non-quarterback worth $47 million APY? I don't know.
Well, maybe at this time this guy is here. If you continue not to have a pass rush, and I don't mean to be.
I don't think so. We saw this team get their butts kicked just as bad with Mike on the field.
Sure.
And I think we have short-term memory losses.
But fans. But right now you would kill to have a pass rush.
Absolutely.
I mean, but you're right. It might not help the secondary. Not the way it's playing right now.
Yeah.
It might not help.
There might be a couple of plays he's certainly able to make. Maybe there's a turnover that he's able to force because of it 100%. But I don't think one man is stepping into that room and all of a sudden it's some magic elixir at all. And I don't want to take away from Micah. He's tremendous. Yeah. But we've seen plenty of times this Cowboys defense get run with him on the football field. Yeah. So that's why, I mean, it truly is the greatest team sport on earth. It takes all 11 to play defense. One guy isn't going to come in and salvage it. The loss of Jordan Lewis is big as well from the 817. I agree with you 100%. Yeah. They have lost a lot of pieces on that side of the ball over the last 2 years. And unfortunately, the draft picks haven't hit. I mean, Mozzie, clearly, he was active today. I don't know if Mozzie registered necessarily, if he got a tackle at all in this game today. I don't see him. I don't think that he did. I don't think he registered on the defensive statistics. So he was active today for the first time in place of Jay Toia. We'll see about Marist. I mean, Marist is a guy that I don't know how many snaps he had today, but he hasn't had much the first 2 weeks of the season. That was a third-round linebacker you took 2 years ago. Damone Clark was a guy they spent a fourth-round pick on that we were excited about. Hasn't really panned out. Kalen Carson's been hurt and out. So it's the draft picks that they've made to try and replenish this thing. Marshawn Nealon, will he turn into a good player? Donovan Ezeraku, time will tell. But so far, they haven't necessarily hit. And when you're a team that is draft and develop and doesn't want to go outside and bring in big money free agents, you've got to have those guys step up in year 2, 3, and 4, or else you're going to be where they are right now. Yeah. And that's with the talent deficiency on that side of the football.
Agreed.
All right, let's go to Big Jim. Big Jim, what's going on, man, in Round Rock?
Well, fellas, that was just a big disappointment. I didn't think they was ready to play, and man, I felt like that, hold them on defense and then getting that ball back, and that fumble was just soured everything. And they, that coach over there, he's got some tricks up his sleeve. But let me tell you something I was worried about. I was worried about your offensive line today as well. I mean, we know his defense sucks. But Steele was getting walked back like crazy. Booker got run over by Montez. Oh, it was horrible. So, I mean, there's I guess some of them, the twists and stuff, but it's not, they just didn't look like they were prepared. And that's what I thought anyway. I look forward to trying to break down the tape when I get a look at it. But it's very depressing. And Brian, you invite me maybe on to draft shows before too long if they come out there and put this crap up. And I will say this: I would not have put CeeDee Lamb back there at that point in the game. That was stupid. Shouldn't have done it. The risk is too high. I'm pissed off. I'll get over it, but we'll talk soon, fellas. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Big Jim. Thank you so much for the call. That opens up a line, 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. We'll hear from Jerry Jones coming up on the other side. He's been speaking to the media, interested in what Jerry had to say after a 31-14 Cowboys loss in Chicago to the Bears. Bears get their first win of the season, and it certainly was not a happy homecoming for a lot of former Cowboys that were going back to Chicago after being either on that coaching staff or playing for the Bears. All right, let's go out to Tate in Fort Worth on line 4. Tate, you're on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys.
What's up, guys? It's been a while talking to y'all, and really the only couple questions I have is, Broaddus, do you think that Terrence Steele is going to get benched pretty soon? Because
Yes.
I definitely see
Yes.
the evidence out there right now.
Yes, I
and
do.
then I also very much agree with the fact that we can't put it all on Flus because the personnel that we have is not very good for him to evaluate very well.
Agree.
And understanding that he's pretty much scared to figure out what coverages he wants to do. And I guarantee if this keeps up with how the pass rush is, the defense is definitely not going to look very good going forward. So I'll let y'all go on.
Yeah, thanks. I think I tweeted this out, and I felt like that this could be the game that gets Terrence Steele. I think there'll be some questions about the tackle. I know that Guyton wasn't exactly good either.
No, I mean, hey.
And Stephen Jones even came on us with us Friday afternoon a week ago and talked about the fact that they are kind of looking at Nate Thomas. To me personally, I would replace the right tackle. I think the left tackle is like your future. I don't think the right tackle is.
I think that's totally fair. Go through the lumps and the growing pains with Guyton.
Go ahead.
See what you have.
Exactly.
Make that assessment.
Keep going with Guyton. But to me, Terrence Steele is not your future. Go ahead and see if Nate Thomas could be that guy at right tackle. Stephen Jones thinks that he's played well enough to where maybe he can.
Yeah, and he was open to it when we talked with him on Friday on the flagship on the G-Bag Nation 105 through the Fan. You can catch him on at 3 p.m. every single Friday on the Fan. 877-881-1053. That opens up a couple of lines. That is the number to call, the number to text. I know a lot of you are emotional. I feel you. You guys know that. I'm born and raised a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan as well. I absolutely hate doing post-game shows like this after we watch our team get absolutely embarrassed on the road against an organization that is inept and is laughable and usually is on the other side of this. Unfortunately, it's the Cowboys tonight that got absolutely pummeled, 31-14. And next week, it's the Green Bay Packers and your old friend Micah Parsons coming into town. So not a whole lot of brightness at the end of that tunnel. We'll hear from Jerry Jones. Brad Sham, the voice of your Cowboys, later on in the postgame show. Dak Prescott, your head coach Brian Schottenheimer. More of your calls and texts. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey, Cowboy fans. Keith Davis here.
AT&T. Connecting changes everything. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. WinStar World Casino and Resort, proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Williams in the gun with the back on his right. That's Swift. Back and sets, and no pressure. Deep down the left side, blown coverage. Easy pitch and catch to Rome Odunze. Touchdown Chicago, and they have the first lead.
One of a lot of big plays today, and one of Caleb Williams' 4 touchdown passes as the Bears beat the Cowboys 31-14 at Soldier Field, sending the Cowboys to 1-2. Bears improving to 1-2 on the season. Official postgame show of your Cowboys brought to you by AT&T. Connecting changes everything. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus, joined now by the legendary voice of your Dallas Cowboys, the great Brad Sham. And Brad, that was one of the many big plays on offense for the Bears. You've seen a lot of Dallas Cowboys football in your lifetime. It's 3 games, but what is your concern level with this defense?
Oh, it's high. It's very high. Yeah, they're not doing anything well. They're not hustling. I will say that. And there's a couple of guys who are actually playing well. But I mean, come on, nobody has put pressure on the passer. Have you? Well, you guys watch TV. I don't think you listen to the whole broadcast, but I don't think anybody has heard me say Dante Fowler's name.
No.
I know I haven't heard it because I've never said it.
Yep.
I think that I'm still waiting for the second round pick.
Yeah.
And I really expected. I give him the first game. Brian, we talked about that last week.
Sure.
He played better last week, but I'm expecting more. Definitely expecting more out of Sam Williams, and they're not getting it. And so there's zero pressure on the passer. And then they're playing with what they're playing with in the secondary, and at that, I think the slot kid is playing pretty well. Stewart, I think he's doing pretty good. But I mean, you can't give up 4 or 5 explosive passes a game. You just can't do it. That's a recipe for disaster. Until they figure out how to not do that, then they're going to be in trouble. And I don't know how you not do that with zero pressure on the passer. I think they made him sweat once.
Hey, Brad, I kind of felt like, and I think we all felt like the defense could have a problem today. I mean, going into this, I know we were all thinking high scores, it could be back and forth kind of thing. I think the offense wasn't very good today. And I say that in a way that they needed to be a 35-point offense today like they were last week.
That's asking a lot now. You know that.
And I know that. And I know that. But I also know that they were down 2 defenders in the secondary. I know the Cowboys were down their one of their best players at wide receiver. But I felt like, though, this was going to have to be a shootout game because I did worry about Dallas's defense. And I even picked a game. I even picked it 35-30. I picked it that way. But I feel like that maybe Dallas's offense let them down a little bit today.
I have to look back at some of the stuff. Now, I think one of the biggest plays in the game was just a great play by Stevenson, the cornerback, who stole the ball from Williams on the first. I mean, they are rolling. I mean, the run by Williams was great.
Yeah.
Steals work, getting out in front of everybody down the field. They were going to score on that possession.
Right.
And instead they don't have the ball. And so that wasn't a bobble. That wasn't he wasn't not protecting it. Stevenson just made a heck of a play. So good for him. So that's one. And then I have to look back. I don't remember why the next 2 drives were field goals instead of touchdowns. What broke down? They did get points. You want touchdowns. And when they tied the game, if I were a betting man, which thank God I'm not, if I were a betting man, I'd have bet you when they tied the game that they were fine. And even when they fell behind again 17-14, I would have bet you they're fine. And then when the Bears went on that march at the end of the second quarter, then you thought, oh, okay, this is going to be a lot to overcome.
Right.
And then I can't remember. Do you have it in front of you? What happened on the first possession of the third quarter?
They went.
I mean, I know Dallas punted.
Yes.
Yeah, they went 7 plays, 18 yards is what they did. They had 2 first downs on the play. They scrimmaged. The last scrimmage play was on the Dallas 46.
And after the first down, they had a 4-yard run, and then Dak got sacked for a loss at 10, put him at 3rd and 16.
Okay, so that doesn't help. That doesn't help. I mean, that's a big possession. And then things got out of hand after that, and you had to play offense differently. And, I mean, without CeeDee Lamb, that's a major thing for them. I mean, when you scored 14 points, Brian, I have a hard time disputing you. But I did think that they were – I mean, there were times when they were rolling. They looked like they had – the plays were the right plays. They kind of had it going the way they wanted to. They were running the ball well. And then when it got out of hand and they got behind and they didn't have Lamb, that's when they didn't have the wherewithal to pick up the slack for them. But that's you're uncontrovertibly correct that they had to score more than 14 points to win this game. If you said going in you're going to get 14, I would have said that's not enough. I would have agreed with you. But I have a hard time laying this one at the feet of the offense.
Well, I just
the defense is not giving them a chance to compete.
I just knew that the defense. I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking this defense isn't good enough. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. You know, and if you make a pregame prediction when you say a team that's been awful on offense all year, the Bears are going to score 30 points. I think I have a little fear of what's happening now. Now it turns in. And again, I'm not trying to wipe everybody seems to be focusing on the Dallas defense, but the Bears were maybe more compromised than you today. And you didn't do what you needed to do. The turnovers were bad in the second half. I'm not talking about the Joe Milton one, but the fact that you had to punt the end of the half stuff, the long, I mean, there just didn't do anything. You're going to have to help this defense one way or another. It's probably. I
think that's fair.
I think it's points. It's got to be points. And I even said, Zach asked me, what's your halftime adjustment? Yeah. I say I'm not punting anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm just not punting. Because if I punt, I'm just going to put my defense out there, and there's nothing you could do. Yeah, it's a lot on the offense, but that's kind of Dallas Cowboys football in 2025 right now.
Well, Brad, I wonder if you felt this way. After they punted in the first half, to start the second half, the Bears went on that 19-play, 76-yard drive. And after that, it just kind of felt like, okay, it was wheels off from that point on.
It's not your day today, yeah.
Yeah, and that's early in the game to feel that way because that's when they went up 10, 24-14 at the end of that?
That was 31-14.
Well, then it's over.
Yeah.
Then you don't have because you don't have the wherewithal, and your defense, as poorly as it's playing, now has to stay out there for 9-10 minutes at a stretch, and 31-14. It's kind of out of hand because you can't play offense the way you want to play it anymore, and you don't have Lamb. If it's close, you've got Pickens, you've got some things you can do. You might be able to, but when you've got a big gap like that to overcome without Lamb, then that is probably a lot. I think what they are showing us is that what they want to do is run the ball and therefore throw when they want to throw.
Right.
And they're being somewhat successful at that. Mm-hmm. But I think your comments are fair that they just those situations where they punted or even kicked instead of scoring a touchdown,
right.
Those are things they don't have that margin for error right now.
No, they don't. And it's unfair. It's unfair to this offense, but right now it's the only thing I got. I got a damn good kicker and an offense that's got some skill guys and a quarterback that can play at a very high level at times. But right now, I don't have anything on defense. I have no confidence at all in this defense, and unfortunately, my offense has got to be my best defense. Is what it has to be.
That's a tough way to play.
But that's who we are. That's who we are until you figure out a pass rush, and you figure out blitzing, and you get back hurt bodies. Mm-hmm. That's who you are right now.
Yeah, I don't think that's an unfair statement.
Anything else before we let you out of here, Brad?
I'm glad it's not a long flight. And I know I personally will spend most of the next 2 days in prayer, and I think that's a very good place to be.
Pray for us all, Brad.
I'll join you, my man. Thank you so much. Fly home safe.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you.
Okay, see you later.
There he goes, the legendary voice of your Dallas Cowboys, Brad Sham, joining us here on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification across the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
Yeah, it's such a bummer, Brian, because you look at, I don't remember a game in where your starting running back is able to average almost 8 yards a carry, and you just got completely blown out.
But they took him. It took him out of the game.
Him out, yeah.
It took it. If this game was close, then he continues to run the ball, and then your hope is that you can get a lead and then just continue to hand him the football. It's the same thing that teams are doing to you. You know, when you start to talk about, we were worried about run defense, when in actuality, if your offense continues to put up points, you have no way to finish the game. You have no pass rusher to finish the game.
Yeah.
And so until they figure that out, then they figure out the secondary, there are going to be a lot of games where all of a sudden, it's unfair. It's completely unfair to ask Dak Prescott to do this.
Sure.
But they have no choice. It's Pickens, it's Lamb, it's Ferguson, it's Williams, and it's Booker, and anybody else that plays on that offensive line. Smith, that's them, because their defense is way too compromised to do anything. And what's disappointing is Dallas's offense did not take advantage of a Bears defense. I was on the Bears pregame show today. Talk with their guys. They're like, man, we are really banged up. I mean, how are we going to stop you guys?
And they lost their right tackle, Darnell Wright, during the game.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, you can't get any passers. Braxton Jones, you watch the tape of Braxton Jones all week, and all of a sudden, he's giving up pressure after pressure after pressure. 2 sacks last week. Yeah, it's a little bit different. Aiden Hutchinson, those guys at the Lions. But, man, just nothing.
Yeah, going against the Eagles, I get it. That's a great offensive line.
Yeah.
There is no reason for Dante Fowler, for Sam Williams, for these guys that we've seen be productive NFL players not to be able to take advantage of Jags. Yeah. And I'm talking just a guy. What the Giants and the Bears put out there at tackle the last 2 weeks are average at best offensive linemen.
I will say this, and I think we said it a lot. I felt like the Bears' offensive line was better than what the Giants were. And that was my concern. That was my concern of like, wow, okay, now you're playing an offensive line that's a little bit better, but you have a quarterback that can kill you with his legs.
Right.
He didn't have to kill you with his legs today because he finally found some guys. And you're really fortunate he missed some passes today.
Yeah.
He missed some passes.
And the thing is, you gave him mulligans on it.
Yeah.
He misses a throw. Yeah. That's all right. He gets it back on the. I mean, they gave up plays of 65, 35, 41, 31, 11, 12. I mean, they had 7 different players have plays over 10 or more yards.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable in the National Football League.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll talk more about this one. Of course, post-game show rolling on. I see the lines are full. We will get to your calls and texts, and we will let you vent. 877-881-1053. Zach Wolchuk alongside Brian Broaddus. But we got to hear from Jerry Jones on the other side. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Dallas Cowboys fans know a thing or two about legacy, commitment, and loyalty. That's...
Williams on the end. He gets a couple of blocks, first down. Left side 40. Steal way out in front downfield. And he was stripped of the ball stepping out of bounds. And is it in play or is it a Bears recovery?
Bears ball.
Stevenson, the cornerback, recovered it.
Oh, that was such a massive play. The second play of the game, Javonte Williams running it, and it's the same play that Miles Sanders had, just that gorgeous long 49-yard run before he fumbled on that drive, and Steele gets out in front and is leading the way 22 yards down the field. Here's Tyreek Stevenson, the former second-round pick out of Miami for Chicago, just rips the ball away. Tremendous individual play. But Cowboys, after a 3-and-out on defense, it looked like they were well on their way, as Brad said, to going down the field and taking a lead. That turnover happens, Bears cash in 7-0, and it just spiraled from there, 31-14.
Yeah.
Bears end up getting the win.
You said you felt like when Dallas punted the ball after coming out of the half that
was it.
That was it for you.
And then especially after the 19-play, 10-minute drive, basically.
Yeah, you had no idea that was going to happen.
It was put a fork in them. But yeah, as soon as because you felt as though, okay, Chicago's going to get points here.
I did too. See, that's why you asked me at halftime what my adjustments would be. I said, don't punt. I don't think but they were probably in a situation where I think that when they punted, they were on their own 30. Is where they're at,
and it was that 10-yard sack that hurt the drive.
It just felt like that nothing that they were going to do defensively. The very first series of the game, the Bears had been good all year on the first drive of the game, and you get them to 3 plays -2, and you get them to punt. But from that point on, you just didn't do anything to affect Caleb Williams today.
Amen. And if you want to point the finger at the offense, that's the drive.
Yeah.
That you could not come out of the half already down 10 and punt the football.
Yeah.
You needed to go down the field and score, because as soon as the Bears got the ball back and the way in which they drove to just milk the clock, put a fork in them. It just felt like the wind was out of the sails at that point. And then it was interception. Tremaine Edwards doinks right off the hands of Pickens. Tremaine Edmonds makes a great interception. The Edmonds interception in the end zone there.
Yeah.
It just offensively, it wasn't good enough. But they have to be perfect on offense. They have to score 80% of the drives.
And I know folks are lining up to call in and say, oh, no, it's hard to be that way. But that's really the only way you're going to win games. You're going to have to win games like you won them against the Giants last week. That's really... until they figure out things, and there might not be any figuring out. It might be, okay, this is kind of who we are, and let's see where you get guys back to help. Does Clowney make a difference? Does having the cornerbacks show back up again? Does that help you play it a different way?
Right.
But right now, you are not very good on defense, and your only real saving opportunity in games is your offense.
Yeah, you have to keep pace.
But then you lose one of your best players.
The CeeDee Lamb loss is huge.
It's huge.
You can't understate how big that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And certainly I think a lot of the...
I didn't feel like that they did a good enough job. They ran the ball, which you could. We talked about in the pregame. You could run the ball on the Bears. And I felt like you could throw the ball on the Bears.
That'll be the interesting thing to go back and watch the tape downfield where there's some missed opportunities, because there was a lot of underneath the Ferguson, underneath the Williams, underneath the Sanders. I mean, it's the 3rd and long, and you're just going to throw it underneath.
Yeah, and where it's do you not feel confident of throwing the ball down the field? And is Tolbert struggling to get open? Is Turpin struggling to get open? Is Pickens struggling to get open? How could you just not take a vertical shot, max that thing up, and take a vertical shot? The one thing Pickens could do is draw pass interference penalties.
Yeah.
So that's it. That was a tough one, man. That was
the long was the 37-yarder to Turpin, which was late in the fourth quarter. I mean, the game was pretty much out of the balance. Pickens had that 24-yarder in the first half, but certainly not a lot of plays down the field. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. Get to the phones here in just a second, but let's hear from your Cowboys owner and general manager, Jerry Jones.
Really want to give the Bears a real attaboy. I really thought we came out and were ready to play. I thought we had a lot, and they were able to take several plays and just keep hitting us right on the nose with them, and that ended up being a big difference in the game. But give the Bears a lot of credit. Huge win for them, as it should be here at home, and plus with what they're trying to do with their franchise, the Bears are the Bears.
How concerned are you with the big plays again on defense?
Well, those big plays on either side will eventually take the heart out of you when you get a bunch of them. And I will tell you, I thought a lot of our team really hung in there, getting hit on the end of the nose with some pretty big haymakers there. Those, what we call dominant plays over 20 yards. And those will take it out of you finally. Not only do they take it out of you field position and scores, but it'll take it out of you too. I thought our guys hung in good. We came out ready to play. I thought we ran the ball about as well as I've seen us run the ball. But it wasn't enough when you have the guys open that we've got, and some of the things we did to that fumble hurt us on that first drive. But in general, they came back out the second half, though, and took it to us physically. So give them their due.
And what's your level of concern with CeeDee Lamb?
I talked to him. He felt good about it, really did. And I just talked to him just a second ago, and he thought he could go, so that's a good sign. And then the doctors told him that they thought it was not as serious as it could be. So all that's
was trying to kind of politic his way back on the field. He was trying to talk his way back on the field. Was it just out of prudence to not put him out there? Why not?
There's no doubt in my mind that he would have gone out there hobbling around if we let him. But so let's just keep our fingers crossed. You see the difference he can make in a ball game, but not being out there for us today.
How likely do you think he is to play? How much did it hurt you guys to lose?
Well, I want to give the Bears a lot of credit here. They were able to really effectively make big plays against our defense. Had good, really, those 2 turnovers, all of that. I thought we'd come back out the second half, and I thought we'd run the ball on them. Instead, they did a good job of making that, 18-play drive, or 19 plays, and after having the big play first half, came back out and just ground it out for a touchdown. It's disheartening.
Jerry, after the Micah trade, you talked about the assets you acquired with the draft picks, how you could use those this year. With what you've seen in these first 3 games, are you feeling like you might need to use that capital?
Well, of course, to use that capital, you've got to have the opportunity to use it. And frankly, no matter what I had seen in these first 3 ball games, if I had the opportunity to really do some good with those picks, I would do it. And we've got them, and that's one of the advantages for, if you will, making the trade.
But do you feel more urgency maybe now after what you've seen?
Well, not necessarily. That implies that being more urgent, I can create an opportunity to use them. That usually doesn't work that way at all. You've got to have something that comes your way that's really special, and if you've got the currency to do it, which in this case it would be draft picks, we'll do it.
Jerry, are you concerned with the state of your pass rush right now? Seems like they're kind of struggling to get home.
Well, I think when it compromised us with our 4-man front up there today, and of course we want to try and get there in this defense with that 4-man rush. We weren't getting there, plus we weren't covering it. And that's a bad combination, and that's what happened to us out there today. So we did give them a little more pressure, dialed it up a little bit second half. But they had a lot to say about it with how productive their offense was.
Jerry Jones speaking with the media after this 31-14 Cowboys loss to the Bears. What did you think of what Jerry had to say there, Brian?
I think that he probably thought his team was in this. He always talks about his team was ready to play, and I necessarily I don't always agree with that, with the way defensively. But let me, if I could, circle back real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, the numbers came out, the metrics came out, and I just want to. I'll circle back on Jerry, but I wanted to try and prove a point here. Throwing the ball against Stevenson, the corner, they were 3 of 10 for 36 yards. Throwing the ball against Wright and McLeod, they were 10 of 11 for 126 yards. There needed to be more at those guys.
Absolutely.
You know, Stevenson was their best player in the secondary.
Yeah.
So Nashawn Wright and McLeod, you're 10 of 11 throwing the ball against them.
And they're backup players. Their starters are hurt.
And exactly right. And you know, the one touchdown allowed, you know, but you're only throwing the ball 3 times at McLeod. Why? Why is that? Why are you throwing the ball? Stevenson is their better of the corners where we've known Nashawn Wright. Mm-hmm. We know what he is. He's not a guy that can cover George Pickens. No, not at all. Jalen Tolbert made a nice third down catch against him. Okay, here we go. Flus in this game play, they say 86% zone. They were 15 of 24 for 212 yards, 2 touchdowns against zone. Against man, 14%. 4 for 4, 86 yards.
Wow.
2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
So, picture poison. They were lethal against both.
Yeah.
I mean, man didn't have, and so those 2 touchdowns were in man coverage.
They had 2 touchdowns against man, 2 touchdowns against zone for the four total touchdowns.
But you're right. I mean, why not pick on the other? Now, I guess that will be the thing. When you lose CD and so everybody's bumped up, is Tolbert not getting open? Is Turpin not getting open? Is Flanoy not getting open?
Maybe we're misevaluating, and I'm saying I'm part of this.
Right.
Maybe misevaluating like we did the defensive ends. You know, waiting for Turpin, waiting for, you know, it looked like to me that, not Turpin, Tolbert, excuse me. But it looks like to me that Turpin is a guy that can win downfield. Unfortunately, down in the end zone, the interception, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, Dak got him last week, fit a ball inside. That ball just, give the Bears credit on the play. But they to me, this is where the offense, if you're wearing somebody out, like I say, not enough balls at Wright and not enough balls at McLeod.
And I wonder
football game if to move the football.
Yes, and I agree with you 100%. And I wonder if Dennis Allen, because he was showing some different looks, he looks like, okay, he's going to go cover 0 blitz. They back out of it. And some texts are coming in, well, your answer is the quarterback. That's on the quarterback. And I don't disagree with you.
Okay.
But even Tom Brady is a guy that struggled against Dennis Allen. Maybe Dennis Allen confused Dak.
Okay, your quarterback, this is what he did. This is what the Bears did to you defensively. 64% zone. Dak was 24 of 30 for 180, 2 interceptions. Now, okay, we have to see.
When 24 of 30 is good, but the 2 interceptions, obviously not. Now, one of them doinked off of Pickens' hands.
Exactly. That could be. And then the man coverage, they played 36% man. They were 10 of 15 against man coverage. They had 112 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception against the man coverage stuff.
Yeah.
But the 2 interceptions in the zone coverage, and Dak was 24 of 30 for $180. But it makes me wonder why you go into games and you're like, how do we match up against McLeod? How do we match up against Nashawn Wright?
You got to pick on the weak link. And they did it great against Adoree Jackson.
Exactly.
And week 1 against Philly. It seemed like, okay, that's something that they're going to do with this coaching staff. Today, not so much, which is why I wonder, was it anything schematically that Dennis Allen did to get Dak out of rhythm, or were players just not running open to where he trusted to fire the ball into? And the turnovers were killers.
We could look at the air yards. I mean, we could look at how they with the passing in this game. You could probably look at those. It just seemed like to me the ball wasn't going.
There's a lot underneath.
A lot of underneath. So, okay, Dak was 31 of 40 for 251, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Average per attempt was 6.3. So he was pressured 12 times in this game, is what they had, with the 2 sacks, is what they said.
Well, on the counter, this was, according to Courtney Cronin, who covers the Bears for ESPN, this was Caleb Williams' first career game without being sacked.
Yeah.
First time in his entire career.
Seven pressures. 7 pressures on 28 dropbacks is what they said. He averaged 10.6 yards a throw in this game.
Yeah. Caleb Williams posted the second game this century by a Bears quarterback with 4 passing touchdowns no turnovers, no sacks taken. The only other time that happened, we got to go back to 2006, the year they went to the Super Bowl, and it was Rex Grossman.
Rex Grossman, yeah.
That hurts to hear.
Yeah.
For a Cowboys defense. 877-881-1053. A lot of you waiting patiently on hold, and I really, really greatly appreciate you doing so. We will rip through some of your phone calls coming up on the other side. We'll hear from your head coach, your quarterback, and this has been brought to you by Blockchain. Are you ready to learn a new game and invest like the pros? Don't worry. Even the pros were rookie in crypto once. Blockchain.com makes buying, selling, and trading crypto easy. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Throughout time, man has expressed himself through dance. The Charleston,
or grilling at home. On game day, Cowboys fans deserve Pepsi. Ford, your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Ferguson in motion to the left and back to the right. Prescott in the gun. Back to throw. Good protection. Rolls right, throws on the run, in and out of the hands of Pickens, and intercepted on a deflection by Tyreek Stevenson. His second takeaway of the day.
Man, Tyreek Stevenson, the interception. And then also, of course, just ripping the ball away from Javonte Williams. Big game for him.
Mm-hmm.
As the Bears beating the Cowboys 31-14. Dallas now at 1-2. Bears improving to 1-2. The desperate team theory. They definitely look like the more desperate team today, Brian.
I'll tell you what, Dallas will be the desperate team theory next week against the Packers.
It's a big one. I know our buddy Tim and Carthage just texted in and said that's the only way to really salvage the season at this point. You're 7 days away from it. If you can find a way to beat Micah Parsons and the Packers at home, all of a sudden you're feeling very differently about the trajectory of the season.
Exactly. A lot of 1-2 teams, but your defense is probably one of the worst of the 1-2 teams right now. But your offense can clearly can do some things. I didn't think today that they were particularly great, but there were times where they do flash. It's just unfortunate that when your best players got hurt, but you got to power through that, especially with what the Bears were dealing with on their defense.
Well, I thought it was a great opportunity. Okay, GP3, all right? Now it's your time to step up, go be wide receiver 1, and whether maybe it was lack of opportunity or maybe it was on him. But, he did have the touchdown, and he had that one big 24-yard pass along the sidelines, able to wiggle free for a first down.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, George Pickens didn't have that type of game, and it might not be his fault, but that'll be one where we go back and watch the All-22. But that was one where that was an opportunity to step up that didn't quite fall into place. You just cheered for America's team on the field. Now see them on the reels. Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, now at a casino near you. Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. And do you have a gambling problem? Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER. For 21 and over. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus. We'll hear from your head coach Brian Schottenheimer here in a moment, but I do want to go to the phones, and a lot of you have been waiting patiently. Let's start with Trevor in Colorado Springs. Trevor, you're on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, you can hear me?
Yep.
Hey, I just had a couple points. The safeties, this is the third game in a row I've seen them in their back pedal when people are just running by them. I don't think it just looks like they don't know what to do out there. They look like mannequins. You could throw it in front of them. You could throw it anywhere in their zone. Looks like completion. And for the defense ends, too many times we're crashing inside. I know it's probably a scheme thing. I see Leofau, hitting the outside corner, but it just seems like the C gap is always open. Anywhere around the safeties is always open. And as far as Tolbert, I just don't know what he does for you differently than like maybe a Moreno Cropper or a Jalen Brooks. I don't see it.
Thank you for the call, Trevor. I have been saying the same thing about Tolbert. I will say the 2-point conversion, that's one area of his game, working back to the football. He is good at that.
Yeah.
But, I was calling for it last week. I'd like to see Flanoy maybe get some of those opportunities. I think you saw it. Your wide receiver depth is just not where it needs to be. I don't think Tolbert's that guy. I think Turpin can be a good player for you. But maybe it was a lack of opportunities. But, Flanoy, Brooks, those are guys that I'd like to see what they can do.
Mingo's coming back after the Packer game, right?
Yep, you'll get Mingo back week 5.
Somebody's going to have to probably sit for that.
And that's probably, I think he probably slides into wide receiver 3, where Tolbert is right now. I mean, I guess Turpin, you could maybe argue that, but I think that he'll be taking the spot where Tolbert is, would be my guess, but we'll see when we get back. All right, let's go to Mike in Iowa. Mike, what's up?
Hey, guys. You hear me?
Yep.
Appreciate all the work you guys do up here in Iowa. We're spoiled by all the coverage we get from you guys, so appreciate all the work.
Thanks, man.
I know it's way down the list, and honestly, I don't know what you do about the defense when you can't cover, you can't rush the passer, and they seem kind of lost scheme-wise. Running back 2, it's nothing against Miles. He's fine. He's okay, but there's just no juice. I think I think everybody would agree that Javante's been great, but I'd like to see an upgrade there. And everybody talks about Blue not being ready, but I think it's time, especially, and so there was not just the runs, but it's the kickoff returns. I think we have some opportunities there as well.
Yeah, I agree with that, Mike. Thank you for the call. I mean, I think that I looked over at Brian.
Somebody made the call today to play Mozzie Smith, so somebody's going to probably make the call to play Blue, and we'll see how they get him active, though.
Yeah.
That's the question.
And you've been saying it's like a trust issue.
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely.
You got to earn the right to play.
Yeah, you have to. The coaches have to feel like that when you practice that you're absolutely doing the very best you can out there in the practice field. They got to feel like in the classroom you're learning everything. They've got to feel like that you're studying, that you're going to know the game plan, that if they put you in the game, that like if you have to block for Dak and you miss that block and Dak gets blindsided or something like that, they've got to trust you. And that's what, that whole thing is, you've got to learn how to be a pro about it. And obviously he is not doing enough for them to put him and make him an active player. It just hasn't. But if you bring him in, you're likely going to have to sit Miles Sanders. And I think people are probably okay with that. They've had enough of Miles Sanders because people just want to see something different. Just want to see something different. I think we want to see something different at safety. We want to see something different at corner. We want to see something different at blitzing linebacker or edge rusher. I mean, this team is kind of who they are right now until you get some of these players back, But I could say it if you're really, really interested, there's some corners they bring up off the practice squad every week where, with
Zion Childress would be one.
Childress is one. Rochelle's one. I mean, do you see guys like that? Is at that point?
Do you play Wanye Thomas more?
It's really tough. It is really, really tough when you're in the season and now you're having to make wholesale changes, but something has to be done.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is the guys you change to might not be any better. And that's why I keep talking about this offense. That is the one thing that I feel like I can count on. So today, though, they did not get it done against a team that they should have got it done against.
All right, let's go to Thomas in Caddo Mills. Thomas, you're on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. Broaddus, I can't agree with you more with everything you've said, so I'm going to kind of have to switch gears because you've already said everything I wanted to say. Two things, though. Number one, we've got panic Prescott out there trying to force throws when they should have switched gears when Lamb went out and continued with the over the middle. We were getting 6-7 yards, either running the ball, going underneath. But why isn't Dak ever running ever again? And then please, can we all just agree to look at the one bright side of this team, and that is Aubrey. Oh my God! Thank God we've got him. He's going to be the reason we win.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
You betcha.
When do you want to see Dak run? I'm being curious on this one.
It's just when he gets in trouble. There's 6-7 yards that he can get 3, 4, 5 times a game, and you don't see him run at all. I mean, Tom Brady would even have taken those runs.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want him to be Caleb Williams again. We all know he's not there. That's the injury. I'd love to see him take those 6-7 yards when he can instead of trying to force a throw downfield that isn't there, especially when you got Pickens covered like a glove, and then we don't have CD on the other side.
I'll be real interested. I promise I'm on all these platforms. I'm going to look at that tape tomorrow morning at 6 in the a.m., and if I see that Dak Prescott had running opportunities, I will apologize to you at Krusty's Corner at 3:40 if you listen to us every day. How about that?
Hey, man, Toro all the time, brother. Hey, man, and I agree with a lot of everything you say there.
I'm not. Yeah, I just
with an open mind.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. But if he's missing opportunities to run, I'm going to look at it on tape, and I will bring that up for sure.
No, I appreciate the call, Thomas. And yeah, today there are times for sure where I agree. It's like, okay, can you go steal a first down with your legs?
Yeah.
I didn't think of those moments today at all. And honestly, in terms of forcing the ball down the field, I think Dak didn't really force it down the field today. We've talked about all the underneath passes.
Yeah, I think
maybe he should have tried to force it a little bit more today.
Yeah, when you're talking about the pass plays that he had, I felt like that there needed to be more down the field. And that's why I was talking about even maybe max protect and keep, instead of checking down to tight ends, find a way to keep tight ends in and then take some shots on these guys.
Yeah.
We didn't see George Pickens one time initiate a potential pass interference penalty.
No.
That could have been 30, 40 yards. Everything was underneath. There was nothing that led you to believe that they were, taking the couple of shots they took. The one that Tolbert has was a really, really nice play. He got whacked, but it was a good pass, good route. There needed to be more of that. And there wasn't today. There just wasn't against, I keep saying this, their defense was really, they were worried about their corners.
They should have been. They were down their two best ones. Kyler Gordon, their slot corner, was out.
You were 10 of 11 against their worst players. You're telling me you only threw the ball 11 times against their worst players? That's inexcusable to me.
Yeah,
that really is.
And you got
to scheme stuff against these guys. Make them have to play in this game. I don't know. I used to do this for a living, guys. I used to evaluate. I was a pro personnel guy, and I'd go to games and I'd find the weaknesses of the other team, and I would try and tell my coaches, need to attack this guy, need to. Look what the Bears did. Look what the Giants did. Look how they attacked guys. It's
and a big problem
is they needed it today.
Yeah,
against a compromised secondary.
Well, and it's compromised, and one of the guys they're attacking is Trayvon Diggs, who's supposed to be one of your better players. That's an issue.
Yeah.
Let's go through and look at the Cowboys' drafts on defense. Okay, we can start with this past year. Donovan Ezeraku through 3 games has been disappointing. The jury's out on that. Let's wait and see how the season unfolds. Ravel, he's inactive right now. He's trying to get back. Shamar James was a healthy scratch. Jay Toia was a healthy scratch. I think he's looked good in the first 2 games, though. They might have something there.
He needs to probably play next week instead of Mozzie Smith if Mozzie's not going to get on the stat sheet.
Yeah. Tommy Akinbisote, he's gone. Not on the team. Marshawn Nealon, need more from. Yeah. That's a year 2 player. Maris Leofau, they don't play a ton of snaps right now. Kalen Carson, hurt. Justin Rogers, not on the team. Mozzie Smith, not good. DeMarvion Overshone, hurt. Viliami Fehoko, not on the team. Eric Scott, not on the team. Sam Williams, not playing well. Deron Bland, hurt. So when you're a team, Ridgeway, not on the team. Damone Clark, not playing well. Devin Harper, not on the team. You go down the line here, and you're a team that is about drafting, and that is how you replenish. You haven't been able to draft on that side of the football well enough to replenish. And now you have a talent deficiency on that side of the football because the players that you've brought in via free agency, where you're trying to do kind of low cost-effective moves, haven't hit. Like Jack Sanborn, today he had 3 straight plays, 3 straight tackles. I don't know if people are up in arms about, Jack Sanborn's an amazing linebacker. I thought Murray played much better last week. Yeah. We'll have to go back and see how he did today.
Mm-hmm.
But Kyer Elam, been a little up and down at times. You're getting corners off the street right after cut day that you're coming in here. And Stewart, who I think's been okay. Bridges, who got to play today. But the bottom line is the drafting hasn't been good enough on that side of the football on defense.
Yeah.
And that's a big reason why you're kind of – and you've lost guys that were depth pieces for you, the Jordan Lewises of the world, the Chauncey Golstons of the world, etc., the Dorrance Armstrongs, the exodus that's happened over the last few years, and you have not been able to fill those spots. And right now, that's why you're looking at maybe there is a massive talent gap. The Cowboys' defense is not good enough, and we can point the finger at the coaching staff all we want, but I do think at some point it's a combination of 2. It's the players, and it's probably the coaching. All right, let's hear from, speaking of coaching, your head coach, Brian Schottenheimer. He caught up with the media after a 31-14 game.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Coach, your thoughts on the offense after you lost CeeDee? How difficult was it to get something going?
Well, I thought, the bigger thing for us was, we were running the ball really well early in the game, and, the score kind of got away from us a little bit. We come out at halftime, we're only down 10, and we get start of a drive, and I think that was the bigger issue. Certainly you lose a player like CeeDee, it affects you, but again, we just didn't play well. We really didn't, and told the guys that. And this could be a humbling business. If you don't take care of business, you don't play well, then you're not going to win. And what I pointed out to the guys very clearly was, we got to stop giving up big plays on defense, and we got to stop turning the ball over on offense. It's a bad formula. But, we have played 3 out of 17, did not play well tonight, certainly didn't play well enough to win. Give them credit. They did a good job, and they were better than us tonight.
You've been talking about it the last couple of weeks. Is it communication today, or what do you think it was?
Same thing. Diggs slips down on the one. He just stumbles. The flea flicker, we're right there, and it's like, whatever. But we did have a guy jumped up one time on a low route, let the guy get in behind him on something. That can't happen. So, again, just can't happen. There's just too many big plays, and we know that. We addressed it. I don't shy. I told the guys this. I said, hey, here's the deal. I don't just talk to you guys after a game and just throw a bunch of coach speak at you. I'm going to be honest with them, and I was. I told them, like I just said, I said, hey, we got to stop giving up big plays, explosives, and we got to protect the football.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys. First off, can you give us an update on Diggs and Clark's injuries?
Yeah, Diggs, I think, is okay. Had to come in and get some x-rays, but I think he's okay. Came back in the game. Clark's got a little bit of an ankle, and again, I think he's going to be okay. A little bit more tests to be done, but again, he's tough. And we got beat up a little bit today. That's all part of it. But hopefully we'll get these guys back healthy and be ready to roll.
CeeDee.
Yeah, he's got an ankle sprain. More imaging to come. We'll see. Just got to have more tests done. But again, he wanted to try to come back in and play, and thought he could, but it just kind of, those are the type of injuries that kind of get sore.
Defensively, we've talked about communication issues last week, and there was still some today. How do you fix that? I know you said you had to fix last week is communication and get guys on the same page, but under fire was not done today.
Yeah, it wasn't. And again, that's coaching. And that starts with us, and we got to do a better job, simplify some things maybe. And again, the one thing that we knew going into this game is they would challenge us with some of their, motions and shifts. And they did that. And again, I thought, Caleb played very, very well, threw the ball really well, made some plays off point. But again, got to tighten the coverage down for sure. And again, we'll take a hard look at it. And maybe it is to simplify things. And we're going to do what we do well. I can promise you that.
How much is getting more heat on the quarterback help back there?
It helps. I thought we got pressure on him. We just couldn't finish it. We were around him, Clarence. We just couldn't get him on the ground. And that's been something that he broke. And he's an athletic quarterback that has a chance to hurt you with his arm and with his legs, and he did that. And I thought same thing. I thought we forced some really third and longs, and they converted third and longs because he moved off the spot and made us pay for it. So, got to take a look at it. Like I said, we're 3 games into this 17-round deal, and got a good opponent coming in this week. But it's what we get paid to do: make corrections and get these guys playing better and with more confidence.
Hey, Coach. Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Going back to the point on pressure, the first 3 quarterbacks have all been mobile. And you're getting pressure but not able to get home. Obviously, that goes to the mobility as well. What do you feel is the recipe to try to get home on those mobile quarterbacks?
Yeah, it's all rush discipline, Patrick. It's staying in your rush lane. And, again, I'm going to give Caleb a lot of credit. I saw him find rush lanes and step in, up and out on some things and stuff like that. But, line games help because it kind of muddies it up, and that's a big part of it. We do some line games. But, I just think at the end of the day, it goes hand in hand. The pressures and the quarterback pressure and the coverage, they go hand in hand. But when the quarterback goes to break, you got a decision to make. And you got to make a decision. Do you want to come up and then let him throw it behind you, and that's the game you play. And he did a nice job. Give him credit.
There's Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer after a 31-14 loss to the Bears. And I love listening to Schotty talk ball, but with all due respect to him, the Bears ran 57 offensive plays.
Yeah.
And per Next Gen Stats, you said, Brian, the Cowboys had 7 pressures.
Yeah, he had 7 pressures on 57 plays. Yes.
Okay, so no. You're not around Caleb Williams enough. You're not. That's a hopium right there. That's somewhat gaslighting to your fan base. We're watching the game. 7 pressures on 57 offensive plays.
Well,
you're not close enough to him. You're not getting. It's not about getting him on the ground. You're not pressuring him.
Yeah,
it's not about him being Houdini and running the ball.
Yeah, the defense. If you look at defensive pass plays, was 29.
Okay,
so you had 7.
On 29 defensive pass plays.
On 29 defensive pass plays.
It's not getting it done.
Yeah.
So you got 22 plays in which you're not getting any pressure.
I'll tell you what's interesting. They say the average depth of cushion on the receivers was 7.1 yards.
Yeah, and there were a couple of those plays like 3rd and short. You're playing off the ball. It's kind of an easy first down.
Dallas had 10 missed tackles in the game.
And
the missed tackles gave up an extra 30 yards.
Wow.
Is what they did.
Yeah, and he talked about simplifying. Maybe they will. Maybe that'll help. But I don't know. I mean, we said last week how complicated is cover 2?
How complicated does that defense look?
I don't.
It's not very. They don't blitz. I don't know. They don't blitz very much. I mean, literally, if you just look at, we talked about 29 plays. His pressure rate was 7 pressures in it, no sacks, blitzed 8 times out of those 29 plays. Average target separation. This is amazing to me. 5.2 yards of separation. Playing at a depth of 7 yards.
Making it pretty easy.
Yeah.
And Caleb did play well, and they've got good receivers, but the Cowboys certainly made
kind of helped them.
They certainly did. Yeah. All right, we'll get more tape from the locker room, get back to your calls and texts. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
From retirement planning to insurance, SWBC has customized solutions to help
4th and goal. Williams back looking. Under duress, rolls right, throws in the end zone. Caught. DJ Moore left all alone under the goalpost. Touchdown Bears with 9 seconds left in the third.
31-14, your final. Bears over the Cowboys. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus here in the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys, brought to you by the Medal of Honor Museum. The all-new National Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington brings the stories of America's greatest heroes to life through virtual experiences and exciting interactive technology. Plan your visit today at mohmuseum.org. We'll hear from Dak Prescott. We also have CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson to get to, but I do want to get back to the phones. 877-881-1053 allow you to vent. Certainly a frustrating game this afternoon in Chicago as the Bears just making the Cowboys defense look like Swiss cheese out there at Soldier Field. All right, let's go to Matthew, who's been waiting patiently in East Texas. Matthew, what's going on? You're on the official postgame show of Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, how y'all doing this afternoon? Pretty tough game. I need Trayvon Diggs off my team expeditiously. I mean, like, he's never interested in tackling. Just don't know if he even wants to even be a part of this organization anymore. But my main question would be, are you guys any concern on the Jake Ferguson contract and the yak ability? Kind of has just an early contract, kind of concerned about his yak.
Yeah, I actually made that comment to Brian during the game. It was like, man, Fergie just can't break a tackle. He just doesn't have that slipperiness to be able, to your point there, Matthew, the yards after catch. I don't know that I have an issue with the contract now because they didn't really overpay for him. I think he's the 7th highest paid tight end in football, and they've got a couple of other tight ends that are going to end up getting paid here soon. So he's going to be outside of the top 10 highest paid in his position before long. But that is something where we saw, 2 years ago, we saw flashes of that, like a guy who had the ability to make plays after the catch, and so far, first guy hits him, boom, down on the ground.
Yeah, it's been a problem.
All right, let's go to Q and KC. Q, what's going on, man? You watching the Chiefs 3-up right now on the Giants?
Man, I'm not paying attention to the Chiefs. I'm mad at this Cowboy loss.
All right,
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate y'all having me on the show. I listen to y'all all the day. Brian, bro, I love you. You got great analysis.
Thank you, sir.
But what I want to say is, Dak is going to get punished this week, and it's not going to be fair. He had 2 interceptions. One was off, drop ball, and then one was off a bad call. They should have went for the field goal down there, 14-31. We need 3 scores. Go ahead and go for the field goal. Don't put Dak in that bad position. Then he gets rushed and has to throw up just a prayer because he can't take a sack. So people are going to murder him all week because they love to talk about how many interceptions he's had. They put him in a bad situation.
Are you wearing your Dak jersey right now, sir, with this call?
I am not wearing. My wife is, but I'm not wearing my Dak jersey.
No,
but,
I understand. I understand what you're saying. It's not. Listen, the offense was bad today, though. Let's be honest. Overall, it was bad. Other than the running game and Chicago's ability. Chicago did to you what you should have done to them. Put up points and take them out of
chunk plays,
doing things. Yeah, absolutely. But listen, Dak had his issues. Don't get me wrong, but they had a lot of other issues than Dak. You could take your pick. It ain't all going to be on Dak. The defensive coordinator's wearing it. The Diggs is wearing it. The lack of a pass rush is wearing it. Jerry Jones is wearing it. Dak is, and I'm not going to say Dak is the least of your problems, but they're going to have him, and like it or not, he is going to have to play at an almost MVP level, and it's probably not fair.
And he did it last week, and you were able to win the football game.
And he did it against Philadelphia and almost win that game. It's not fair. It absolutely is not fair. But really, that's all you got. That is all you got. Offense that you have. Really not much else to really hang your hat on other than, say, Williams running the football.
Yeah, and I appreciate the call, Q. I mean, that is – I didn't even think in the moment kick the field goal here. I really didn't because it just it seemed like the game was so far out of reach you didn't have a choice.
I asked you if we needed to we were going to have to do the onside kick.
Yeah.
Because you have to tell them, and I was, and then.
I mean, you're right. It was 3 scores, so, I mean, go ahead and get the field goal out of the way. So, like, in hindsight, I get the logic and the reasoning there. I just, in the moment, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Well, it's his way, and good for him defending Dak that way.
Yeah, because Dak's been tremendous through the first 2 games.
He has been. Today, I don't think was one of his better games.
877-881-1053. That is the number to call, the number to text here on the official postgame show of the Cowboys. But let's pause 10 seconds to allow stations to identify themselves across the Cowboys radio network.
You're turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Tolo, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
All right, we'll get back to the phones in just a minute. But speaking of Dak Prescott, let's hear from QB1 after this 31-14 road defeat to Chicago.
Prior to the last time, how do you explain the performance like this today?
It's hard to right now, honestly. I've got to go look at it from the offensive standpoint. I know scoring 14 points is never going to be okay. Dang sure not with this offense, this unit, the team, the players that we have. And 6 of those were field goals. So not acceptable, not to our standard, not anywhere in what we believe in and what we're capable of doing. And got away quick, and had a chance right there to cut it back to 10, and had a turnover in the red zone. That's unacceptable.
How much did losing Lamb hurt you guys and affect the way they cover Pickens?
Obviously, you lose a player like CeeDee, it hurts, and it's hard to substitute that. When you've got the players that we've got, we're wondering anyways how teams are going to play us. So then when you lose a guy like that, maybe it made their game plan a lot easier from their standpoint to, double George, Cloud George, what they did early. He was still able to make some plays. But yeah, you can't. It's tough. It's tough to win a game. You lose a player like CeeDee, for sure.
Dak, Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. What has to be the message coming off of a game like this where you feel as if you weren't sufficient in either of the main categories against this team?
Yeah, everybody individually has got to be accountable, got to look at themselves in the mirror, ask what can they do and what can I do better throughout the week in my preparation to make sure that we come out here and we play better from the beginning and we start faster. We've got to go out there and score and not give field goals. Aubrey's a hell of a kicker and he's a great asset for us, but we can't lean on him. We can't get down in the red zone and say, oh yeah, we got a field goal, we're fine. No, we've got to go get points. We've got to go get 7 points and cash in. And so everybody's just got to look at themselves and say, where can I get better and where can I help this team individually? And then if we all do that collectively, we should put ourselves in a better position than we did today.
Nick Eatman, DallasCowboys.com. Ferguson, I think 14 targets, 13 catches. Was that what Chicago was kind of given, or was that sort of a game plan to go in and try to get him the ball?
No, it's definitely what they were given. We're never mad if Ferg's going to have that many targets. Obviously, we'd want to win the game. But when you've got guys like George and CeeDee out there, we're expecting them to, give us Cloud, to double those guys on the outside, and it's going to take Ferg winning inside. And he did that for the most part. We just weren't able to cash in. We weren't able to score touchdowns, and they were on the other side.
Did you understand the decision at the end to put in Joe? Or you've told us before you want every rep.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, I want every rep. Never happy about getting pulled out, but, you've got to be realistic and professional, understanding that where the game was, I had a chance right there, as I said, to go score in the red zone, and we didn't. And at that point, it was, 3-score game with 2 minutes left. And it's a young season. As hard-headed as I am, and I want to get out there and get every rep, those guys are teeing off in the rush, right? And I want to stay healthy and want to be healthy, and I'm sure that was a big part of that decision there. So, yeah, I understood it.
Okay. Just given their secondary just came in, they were pretty banged up, Keanu Johnson, part of the board, and just given that, how surprised were you that you weren't able to get more shots down the field?
They were dropping. They were getting a lot of depth that allowed for underneath throws, which we got. We've just got to be able to stay on the field, convert third downs, not put ourselves in some of those 3rd and 7 plus. Obviously, that's plays to their benefit. But when you lose a guy like CeeDee for one, and they can play as soft as they want because just keeping everything in front of them, it's always going to be tough.
There's Dak Prescott after a 31-14 Bears win over the Cowboys, and he's right. It was 31-14. They go on a nice drive. They have a chance to cut it to 10 in the fourth quarter. It's 4th and 1 at the Bears 1, and he has the interception there. And Q, who called in earlier, was saying, hey, do you kick the field goal there, make it 31-17? But I do think a big reason why he was taken out for Milton was during that drive, you had that Grady Jarrett roughing the passer penalty where he takes a dive at his legs. And that was probably like an oblique moment.
Was that Sweat?
No, Sweat and him were talking afterwards, but it was Grady Jarrett who actually took
Grady ran right over.
He's the one that had the dive towards his leg.
Okay,
he got called for the penalty.
Yeah,
and then him and Sweat were jawing after.
He went over the top of Booker. Booker got rolled on that one. Yeah.
Pretty bad. So that was probably a scary moment, and I'm sure they were thinking, okay, game's out of reach. Let's let Joe Milton go out there and get a couple of reps. But there was Dak, and he's right. I mean, you can't, in a game like this, you probably couldn't have settled for those field goals early on. As good as Brandon Aubrey is, you can't be kicking field goals. You need to turn those into touchdowns. And the turnovers were big. I mean, the great play by Tyreek Stevenson to rip the ball away from Javonte Williams when it looked like, here you go. You're going to get on your horse, have a good offensive drive, take the lead, which they never had. I mean, how different is the trajectory of the game from that point on if that play doesn't happen? But it did. And now you got to go back to the drawing board, and you're right. I mean, this team's only going to go as far as their offense takes them.
They're only going to be, and maybe you'll figure out some stuff with the secondary, with some of the guys coming back, and you could play some little bit different coverages and stuff like that. To his credit, he didn't play 100% zone coverage today, but when he played man coverage, I said 4 for 4 so. Yeah, I mean,
with the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they're not very. If you do not have a pass rush, I don't care if you have Deion Sanders and whoever else you want to name, Mel Renfro and Cliff Harris and Charlie Waters or Darren Woodson back. It doesn't matter. If you do not have a pass rush in the National Football League, quarterbacks like Russell Wilson and Caleb Williams are going to look great.
Jordan Love next week.
Yeah,
they got to figure that out. No question. All right, back to your phone calls and your texts, 877-881-1053. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
I'm home.
Hey, Mom.
Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. The islands of the Bahamas. It's not one island, it's a lifetime of them. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.
8 minutes left in the second quarter. Snap to Prescott. They fake it to Sanders. He rolls left, throws it to the left side of the end zone, and Pickens throws out the Inspector Gadget hand and pulls it in for the touchdown.
Inspector Gadget. There it is. Our drive of the game. 7 plays, 57 yards. 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Ties the game up at 14. We're thinking, here we go. Right back in it from 14-3 down.
Yeah.
To tie ball game. Dak to Pickens. Tolbert with the 2-point conversion. Here we go. New life. And it really just went downhill from there, Brian.
Yeah, it did. It did. And you just, defensively, keep talking about it. It is. It's just, unfortunate you just don't have the horses to run this race right now. And I mean the horses in a way of guys that you're relying on that you kind of earmarked as, okay, this guy is going to play well or this guy's going to play well. And you just you look at that and when Schotty could talk about, hey, going back and look at the tape and all that. And he says, I talked to the players. He's going to have to talk to a lot of guys in that locker room, both offensively and defensively. There's things they have to think about it at the offensive tackle spot. I brought that up with Steele, and I don't think they're going to do anything with Guyton, but Steele's situation.
And they probably should.
Do they need to bring Blue up? Is to maybe give you something a little extra?
That juice, that explosiveness, I think is badly needed.
Somebody made the call on playing Mozzie Smith. Somebody said that Mozzie Smith needs to play. Well, Mozzie Smith wasn't on the stat sheet this week. I'm sure when we watch the tape, we'll probably see why Mozzie Smith wasn't on the stat sheet. But they're not very good at corner. They're not very good at safety. They're struggling at linebacker, and they have no pass rush. And it doesn't matter if you're any good stopping the run if teams could throw the ball as effectively as they have.
Yeah.
There's no reason to throw the ball.
Or to run it.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
If you're going to give up a 65-yard touchdown pass, a 35-yard touchdown pass.
There's no reason. You look at the Bears. The Bears had 29 rush plays today for 87 yards. They averaged 3 yards a carry. They beat you by what, 17?
Yeah, and meanwhile, the Cowboys ran the ball better than they have in a game since last year, Monday night against the Cincinnati. They averaged over 6 yards a carry. You had zero run stuffs on your end. There was not a negative. There was not a 0 or negative yard play. Well, I think that the Bears were at -1 rushing yards, and they're up 14-3 in the game.
Yeah, the Bears had 8 of them.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the Bears had 8. Cowboys design run success rate 55% in this game. Running the football is not a problem for the Cowboys. And stopping the run probably is not a problem, but they haven't had to stop the run.
No, they swapped out weeknesses. It's kind of how it looks right now.
Exactly what they did.
They were able to get Kenny Clark, and they're better against the run, but now they can't get after the quarterback.
They bought into this edge group. They bought in, and maybe this is where the misevaluation is.
And I did too. I'll raise my hand, guilty.
Oh.
I thought they'd be better as well.
Yeah, that they could put together. One guy could have 4 sacks, another guy could have 3 sacks, another guy could have 6 sacks. They could put it all together to make up for Micah Parsons' 14 sacks.
Yeah,
this team is
a big problem.
How many sacks has this team had? Did they have what? 2?
I think they had 2 last week. I think Kenny Clark got 1.
Right, and then Nealon had 1. Right?
Yeah.
So they've had what? Maybe 2 sacks this year.
Yeah, I can't remember week 1. I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah. It's oof.
They're not, and the pressures too. I mean,
pressures are down as well.
I mean, I think Kenny Clark was your leading as defensive tackle, had 5 pressures on the year, and that was the most on the team heading into this week.
Yeah.
So it's it certainly has not been good. As I'm trying to pull up the box score there of that Eagles game, did they have any sacks in that one? And no, they didn't.
So they've had 2 sacks in 3 games.
Yeah.
Wow. There you
It's
go.
not going to get it done.
That's not
All
going to
right,
get done.
Let's go back to the phones. Let's go. I know a lot of you have been waiting patiently. Really appreciate you. 877-881-1053. The number to call, the number to text, 877-881-1053. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout, Brian Broaddus. Let's go to Paul in Wisconsin. Paul, what's up, man? You're on the official postgame show of the Cowboys.
Good evening, Zach and Brian. I'm going to make 3 points. You can respond to all of them or none of them. But number one, I think Eberflus has to be put on a real short leash. Brian, you mentioned, both of you guys mentioned that, Trayvon looks disinterested. And I have an answer for that because they're not buying into what Eberflus is selling. And you just can't have that in this league. And I think at some point he's got to be held accountable for it. That's number one. Number two, I am angry. And I am just livid of what that offensive coordinator putting your best positional player and probably the best positional player in the league on a jet sweep. When I listened to all of the shows in the preseason about how that was going to be Kevontae Turpin's job, and now he's hurt, and we all know how this goes. It was a high ankle sprain. Much like his shoulder last year, he'll deal with it the whole season and probably not be as effective. And finally, with Dak, I think we have to understand that Dak's not an elite quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's, as Jesse would say, he's not elite. And so what that means is you have to do things to help him out. And at some point, you have to understand that he's not going to be able to win you a big game. He's had a decade to do it, and he hasn't done it. So,
you blame him for this one today?
What's that?
You blame him for this one today, Paul?
I think the thing with that, Brian, is he doesn't scare teams. He's a great leader. He's a great locker room guy, but he doesn't scare teams. And it was mentioned earlier about his lack of running, right? And you asked, when would he have run?
Yeah.
I got an answer for you. When they were down, like at the 15-yard line or the 10-yard line, I think they turned the ball over on downs. Why not bootleg him out and give him a run-pass option? They used to do that pretty effectively with that, and they don't. And that would have been a perfect opportunity. You're struggling offensively. At some point, he has to be that guy. He is being paid elite money, and he's not performing elite. And that's been his whole career.
Is that his fault?
Look at all the all-pro guys he's had.
Is that his fault? Is it his fault how much money he makes?
Yes.
It's his.
But Brian, you have to admit.
No. I'm asking a question. Just say yes or no. Is it his fault that they pay him the money they pay him?
No, it's not.
Okay, thank you. Now carry on.
But again, you look at like how many I've heard throughout his whole career. Well, he needs this, he needs that piece.
Yeah, sure.
Look at all the all-pro, probably Hall of Fame players he's had. All I'm saying is you got to ride with him. I understand that, but you also have to understand that you have to do things to help him out because he's not going to single-handedly win football games for you. And he is what he is at this point.
One more question, Paul. You're making a lot of sense here, but let me ask you this. Do you feel like he won you the Giants game last week when you had 25 seconds left in that game?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
But throughout his career, that's not the norm. But the way it is.
But you said he doesn't win you games. You say
not enough of them. Not when it matters. It's
that matters. All these games matter. These games all matter.
May I make a point here?
Yeah.
Make a good one.
Yeah, I will.
Good luck.
When it comes to what's his record in the playoffs?
2-5.
Okay, so right there, right? And I'll say this: in the NFL, the way it's structured now is you're going to have the Terrence Steeles of the world. You're just not going to have enough money to pay everybody. So if you look at the teams that get to a deep run in the playoffs, what's the common thread? They've got elite quarterbacks.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Now, thank you for the call, Paul. I mean, I think there's times where Dak has played at an elite level. I think he has the last 2 weeks.
I think he has too.
But I do agree in terms of, for whatever reason, the full, you could, maybe 2023, we thought that they had the full complement where you had good offensive weapons and the defense in the regular season was really good. They laid an egg against the Packers. Year before, 2022, defense played well enough to beat San Francisco.
Sure.
Offensively. Some will argue you didn't have enough weapons outside of CD. You had Pollard go down in that game.
Yeah.
So now T.Y. Hilton. So it's just not everything has ever quite been there. But I think if you go down the list of Super Bowl teams, I think the Eagles and Jalen Hurts are kind of an outlier.
Yeah.
Like when Kansas City won the Super Bowl, their defense was really good.
Yeah.
But their number one receiver was Juju Smith-Schuster.
Absolutely.
Patrick Mahomes found a way to get that done.
Right.
So I guess that fits into Paul's point there. We're like, that's an elite quarterback making it happen.
Sure.
But Brady, like he had Edelman and Gronk, sure. But when he was winning his first 3 Super Bowls, the defense was great. He's throwing the ball to David Givens and David Patton. You know, I mean, so like it does take a great quarterback. But if you go back to 2017, Nick Foles and the Eagles, I don't know if that was a great roster.
I was asked the same question on Chicago radio today. Is Dak an elite quarterback? I said no, he's not an elite quarterback. But for us to sit there and and he's making it seem like that he's the reason why. That, he didn't. I don't think he played great today. I don't think he played. To me, that we're talking about all the stuff underneath. There should have been, this is where to me the coaching kind of matters a little bit about scheming, where you can scheme guys open. That's where, to me, like last week, I think they needed him to play great in that, and he did.
Sure.
He made some clutch throws in that game last week.
But in Paul's defense, I mean, I've had the same complaint. Like in the playoffs, in the big games when it's mattered, he has come up short. And that's, I think, the fan base's frustration. And now any regular season game like this, he gets lumped into that.
Yeah, but it's not, and I asked him this question, it's not his fault that he's making $60 million.
No, and I'm not going to be the one to lump that on him.
They made the determination that that's what he was worth.
And the people that want to text in, well, Brady took less. No. The Patriots, what you're hearing about Kawhi Leonard now on the Clippers, New England and Tom Brady were doing a lot of that crap, too, behind the scenes with the TB12 stuff. It just hasn't been publicized. Yeah. Make no mistake, Tom Brady was not making $25 million a year. He was making a lot more than that. It just wasn't on the books and the salary cap. So Brady, he might have done stuff surface value to make you think that. The Patriots took care of Tom Brady, and it helps when you've got a supermodel wife who's making 10 times more than you are.
Absolutely.
That'll help as well. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. Let's go to Jordan in Fort Worth. Jordan, how you doing?
Hey, guys, how you doing? One thing I really wanted to talk about was I think the Cowboys need to have a serious conversation about a change in offensive philosophy, especially when they get behind in games. Because I agree with Brian's point about when you went, I think it was either 3-and-out or you went 1 first down and then a 3-and-out and you punted the ball after letting them get a score at the end of the second half. I think the idea is you are too sensitive to a team getting a stop on you, especially with them focusing on the run game, and then you get behind. Whereas I think the opposite should be true, where the Cowboys should say, all right, once we get behind, the run game needs to become tertiary to the pass game, that we need to start making a point to push the ball downfield. And once they start to back off, let's go back to either the power run scheme or the draw game and make some other things happen. That was something that really frustrated me because it felt like we got behind in drives where it's like you're running out of time, and this idea that we're not pushing the ball down the middle of the field. Second thing I really want to bring up, that was a really good point about the corners, and especially them going after Stevenson, which frustrated me. Brian made a good point about this as well. I think the Cowboys have an issue about what happens into the depth chart when CeeDee Lamb goes down. CeeDee Lamb getting hurt the way he did was stupid, objectively stupid. But moreover, it's that does it not seem that George Pickens has flexibility to play in the nickel? Because that's where he should have made his bread today, not being on the outside like he was. I love Turpin. I love that maybe you need a spot for him, but you need to put your best wide receiver where the defense is weak. And it was frustrating to watch them not do that, especially when they could have made their money today and got back into the game with better scheme concepts. But that's really all I have to say. The defense needs to step up, but we will find out if that ever becomes true. But until then, the offense needs to have the idea of we need to score 40 points a game. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jordan. And I wonder about Pickens.
It's unrealistic to think that they can score 40 points a game all the time.
Yeah, it's what they got to do.
But that's what they got to do.
They got to aim for it.
They have to go into games thinking they have to score 30 points.
Yeah,
they have to
at minimum.
Yeah, at minimum, or they're going to be a lot of games where it's like this, 31-14.
And the sad truth is, it's probably not going to be good enough. I mean, Joe Burrow, who I will say I think is a better quarterback than Dak, and unfortunately he's hurt again. But he couldn't even do it last year with Cincy. He got him to 9-8. Maybe in the NFC, 9-8 could get you into a wild card. Yeah. They were close, but Dak's going to have to be Superman, and it's 100% unfair to him. But until this defense gets right, maybe when they get healthier down the stretch, we can see an improvement like we did last year.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it's hard to see that. It's hard to envision that.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, more of your calls and texts. We'll also hear from CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Don't put off getting your oil changed, Dallas.
company. Go to bellnunley.com to learn more.
Shotgun to Prescott, a little fake to Miles Sanders, runs up out of the pocket, heaves it down the field, a wobbler caught by Turpin on a deep crosser from right to left at the 9.
That's our What a Play of the Game, brought to you by Whataburger and the Salvation Army, doing the most good. Heck of a play. Cowboys' longest play of the game. That 37-yarder from Dak to Turpin on that crossing route. Looked like they had an opportunity to cut that 1 to 10, as Dak mentioned earlier, unfortunately, on 4th and goal when they went for it. Tremaine Edmonds had the interception. Dak trying to find Jalen Tolbert in the end zone, and that was it. I mean, the Cowboys did force a 3-and-out, but the ensuing drive ended up also being an interception. That was with Joe Milton then taking over the offense, and then it was the end of the game, 31-14. Bears beating the Cowboys today, making them 1-2 on the season. Bears improving to 1-2. Cowboys 0-2 now on the road this year as well. Some positive game notes: Javonte Williams running for 76 yards on 10 carries. His 7.6 yards per carry, highest rushing average by a Cowboy since Tony Pollard ran for over 9 yards a carry, also against the Bears. But that was at home in a Cowboys victory. And Brandon Aubrey with his 53-yard field goal today, he now has 28 career made from 50-plus, past Dan Bailey for the most 50-yard makes in Cowboys franchise history. So you got a runner in Javonte Williams, and you got you got the best kicker in the NFL in Brandon Aubrey. So a couple of bright lights there in an otherwise dull and dark game. 31-14, Cowboys losing to the Bears. Zach Wolchuk alongside Brian Broaddus, Super Bowl winning scout. Let's rip through some of these phone lines, shall we? We'll hear from CeeDee Lamb, also Jake Ferguson coming up. Update Sunday Night Football 6-0. Chiefs leading the Giants right now in what's been a very ugly game, as that Chiefs offense continuing to not really be able to put it together.
Yeah, it looked like to me that Andy Reid and Kelsey got into it a little bit along the sidelines.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, we'll see how that all plays out for the games. But, the Giants right there are kind of having some trouble blocking up front a little bit with some of their pass protection.
Yeah, Chris Jones still pretty darn good, isn't he?
Imagine that. Yeah, imagine that. But so it's this league it's tough. I was just looking at the standings. There's a lot of 1-2 teams.
Yeah,
and there's
the bummer is your own division. Eagles were able to steal one today that they probably shouldn't have. They're 3-0.
They had two.
Washington 2-1.
2 blocked field goals. What a
wild.
Hey, that's a big win against the Rams. They're down 26-7 in that game.
Yeah,
and the Eagles can come back and win.
That's a good Rams defense.
Yep.
Stafford gets him in position to kick the game-winning field goal, but exactly what you
Giants.
said. Oh,
touchdown!
Scattaboo,
I think, just scored one here.
I think he did as well. I think that's going to be a Giants touchdown unless they mark him down to one.
Backflip.
Nope. It is a touchdown for the former Arizona State Sun Devil.
Yeah, how about that?
6-6. Giants on the verge of taking the lead. Loser of this falls to 0-3. Can you imagine if the Kansas City Chiefs fall to 0-3?
Man, I really couldn't. What balance by Scattaboo. Oh, he's across.
I think he crossed the plane there.
Yep, sure did.
There it is. All right, let's hit the phones. Let's go to Jonathan in Fort Worth. Jonathan, what's up?
Hey, guys. Appreciate you taking my call. This is a question for Mr. Old Crusty. I'm your age, dude, and I appreciate so much you taking the time and to review tape and take everything to us over the air. So I have questions about, 3 questions about offense.
Okay.
So the first one, we get the ball, 1st and goal. Correct me if I'm wrong. When we're at the 1, 2, or 3 yard line, the defense has basically 22 yards to cover, right? So why does that play or that circumstance not have Williams' name all over it?
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, that's something that Zach and I were talking about. That just why not? Yeah, why would you even throw the ball down there, especially with him, and especially with the way that they're able to get been getting pushed at the point of attack. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The other one.
Yep, go for it, Jonathan. Oh.
So, real quick.
Yeah.
So the drive after halftime, we're marching down the field, running the football. We get down in the red zone, and Dak drops back to pass, gets sacked. Why does that circumstance not have Williams and the other back continue to run the ball.
Now, you're talking about play calling, okay? And I totally understand what you're saying about run the football and do that. I get that. I mean, I handing the ball to Williams is now not a bad option. But like you're asking me why. I agree with you on the goal line, but in that situation, Schotty, he probably looked down at his play sheet and probably thought he had something on that card that could have beat the Bears, defensive with what they were thinking about. They work on red zone offense and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
He probably had something he wanted to get to, but yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you about running the football. I think the Bears actually took you out of running the football today with the way that they were playing on offense.
Yeah, appreciate the call. All right, let's go to Brandon in Iowa. Brandon, you got some thoughts on this defense?
Yeah, I mean, well, listening to the calls and other thoughts pop up, but I'm just confused where I feel like we're always sold as fans. And I mean, I'm 38. I love the Cowboys, but it's getting harder and harder to watch this and invest time in it. And I mean, it's just, we're sold all this stuff, the talent aspect. And I mean, I wish every player we had was like CeeDee Lamb, because I do believe he wanted to be out there. And I ultimately believe that's why Parsons got traded. I don't think he necessarily always did. I just like, and I guess this is more for Brian. I mean, schematically with Eberflus, we knew the safeties were a problem last year. We didn't change anything. The cornerback position, I mean, with Bland out, we have nobody. I mean, Diggs is a shell of what he used to be. The linebacker position's awful. Our defensive line, I mean, you could replace every player on that defense right now and really not miss any of them. So I guess as a fan, what do you do as an organization at this point? Because I believe this team needs a total reset. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, on defense, they do on defense for sure.
And I'm going to say something because I was listening to the calls, but Jalen Hurts wins, and Dak Prescott's a better quarterback. He just doesn't have the organizational stability. He doesn't have the teams that they're putting all these pieces together behind the scenes, even though they paid Hurts, and they go out and they do their thing. They sign somebody like a Saquon Barkley. They do things, and we put Band-Aids on things. And this comes from the ownership, the GM, being the owner, all the way down. And this all-in bull crap that we're told every year, that's all it is. You, right now, have Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. I mean, we traded for Pickens. Believe me, I love Schotty. I think he's trying, but we trade for Pickens. He's throwing tantrums on the sidelines. I mean, I don't know what to do. Like, Pickens is a great player. I mean, CeeDee's trying to grab him, trying to teach him. But we have two players on this team right now that you can build off of that are really good. And an offensive line that I think is pretty darn good and can probably get better. And I'm just asking you guys, where is a fan, is this going to change, or is this just not going to change, this Band-Aid bullcrap telling us talent?
Zach and I were talking to the break. Zach tells you they haven't drafted very well, right?
Yeah,
Last
it hurts.
4 years.
That they have not. They haven't. And I'm one that's a big defender of Will McClay and the Scouts, and I've called them the backbone of this organization. But they haven't drafted well, Brandon. And they're now seeing why this draft and develop. If they're not hitting, especially on defense, they have not drafted well on defense to replace the talent that they then lose via free agency, the ones that they don't want to retain, the Dorrance Armstrongs, the Chauncey Golstons, just to name a few. And so now you're seeing a team that is talent depleted on that side of the ball, and when they go bargain bin shopping for the Jack Sanborns of the world, and they want to, the Wanye Thomases that they've still got on the roster, and they pay Marquise Bell, but they don't want to pay him, you're starting to see these issues now unfold, and they just don't have enough talent on that side of the ball. Where, to your comp, the Eagles will admit when they fail in the draft. The Cowboys will not. Mozzie Smith, Luke Schoonmaker, Jalen Tolbert. In fairness to those players, they shouldn't be on the roster anymore because they're not very good. But the Cowboys do not want to admit when they have failed in those areas.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I mean, it's bad when you miss Chauncey Golston. I'm a Hawkeye guy. He's a Hawkeye, right?
Yeah.
From Iowa. But right now, I mean, I think you could use him. And that's just not – I mean, this defensive line's bad, guys. I know Schotty talked about it. getting after the quarterback. We just need to get him down. I mean, we made Caleb Williams and Russell Wilson look like MVP candidates, and they're not. And that's just, it's disappointing.
Yep.
And that's pretty much all I got.
I appreciate the call, man. You said a lot of things there. But, hey, like as a fan, my wife asks me this all the time. She's like, why do you do this? Why don't you just pick another team? Like, it doesn't work that way. Maybe other fans can do that. Maybe other people are able to detach themselves and say, hey, I'm going to be a Broncos fan this year.
Yeah.
I was born into this. It's not easy. I can't flip a switch. So, no, when people want to, and I see it, I've seen it today. And we'll see it anytime the Cowboys lose badly like this. Well, why don't you put Jerry and Steven to the fire and ask some hard questions and hold them accountable? We have. The media has for 30 years, but that isn't changing. So we can beat that drum as loud as we want. It does not matter. And the thing is, Jerry says bring it on. Jerry welcomes that.
Yeah.
Jerry loves that. Jerry thrives on that. If you watch the Netflix doc, The Gambler and His Cowboys, that's only going to fuel Jerry even more. So for those that think we don't do that, when if you heard Jerry tried to fire our morning show on the flagship 105.3 The Fan last year, you're just not paying attention. And the bottom line is we can ask until we're blue in the face, but they won't give the answers that you want, and they're not going anywhere. So we can't change that. So let's focus on the things that maybe we can talk about that'll change, and that could be coaching and personnel. But the ownership at the top, that ain't changing.
No. And, that's – but I think you made a point, though, about the depth. I think that there has been some guys – they're Ezra Rocco's 3 games in, Marshawn Nealon, trying to, but like I said, it's not where it needs to be, especially defensively. They just don't have the pieces right now that they need to play the defense like Eberflus wants to play it. It's just not. It's that part of it's not working.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
not, and it sucks when like Diggs that you re-signed him, you paid him. He's supposed to be one of your best players. He's one of your worst right now.
Yeah.
That's another layer in this. And even though Osa Digizua, I noticed at times, and I've been a big Osa fan, but they just paid Osa this offseason.
Yeah.
And there's times where he's off the field and they're going Solomon Thomas and Kenny Clark.
Right.
And maybe there's something going on with Osa that we don't know about. Sure. And so they were trying to limit his snaps. That's very possible. Yeah. I haven't noticed and been like, Osa hasn't played well this year. Maybe we go back and watch the tape. But I did think, is that an indictment on Osa? That they've got Solomon Thomas with Kenny Clark here?
But they're big rotational.
They are, but usually it's Osa and Clark.
Right.
And then it'll be Solomon Thomas and Jay Toia or Solomon Thomas and Mozzie today.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They changed it up and went Thomas with Clark. And maybe they thought Thomas will give you more pass rush. I don't know. But that was something that caught my eye. And so they haven't gotten the benefit on the second contracts with a lot of these guys. And the last 4 years, they haven't drafted well enough. And they haven't. And they'll wait too long to cut ties. And that's a big issue, too. They have to admit defeat when they don't draft well. Because you've got players that are holding up roster spots that you probably could upgrade over.
Yeah.
And that's the shame in that.
Yep.
877-881-1053. More of your calls and texts, plus some more tape from the locker room. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
You hear that?
handoff to Monangai. Picked up a couple and then driven backwards, and he won't go down. He breaks every tackle in the book, and finally Marshawn Nealon runs him down 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
I think it's more like 8.
Tackles him. Yeah, you might be right.
He should have just given up.
One of the only tackles for loss in this game for the Cowboys defense, Kyle Monangai, did not do himself any favors. We watched him running back out of Rutgers in one of the deepest running back drafts we'd seen. That's a bowling ball. That's a guy that runs tough. He did it there, but laterally, not always his game.
Not going backwards. Yeah.
Wasn't good there as Marshawn Nealon made the play. That was our defensive stop of the game, brought to you by WinStar as the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. WinStar delivers thrills worthy of America's team with over 10,000 of your favorite electronic games. The 2-story WinStar Spawn Cascades, their luxury pool complex. WinStar is a world of wow. Please game responsibly. And shout out to our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt, who's listening, texted in with an update on
Is
OSA.
Bobby listening on the plane?
I think so. I think he does. I mean, he's a big time,
Yeah.
he loves us.
Good deal.
He's a good
Thank
teammate.
you, Bobby.
Trying
safe.
to help us out. And yeah, fly home safe. But Osa was off the field because of the mix and rotations.
Yeah, that's what that with Coach Whitecotton.
Back to and Coach Whitecotton told us that. I just found it interesting because it seemed like the first 2 games, they were pretty consistent, even with the rotations, with Clark and Osa out together. But all about, the amount of snaps. And they want the guys to play, 30 snaps or 70% of the snaps, keep them fresh. So, makes some sense there, 100%. But, yeah, the drafting stuff it is pretty fascinating to kind of take a trip down and look at the last 4 drafts. And it's a bummer because the guys they've hit on have just, they're hurt and unavailable.
Yeah.
Like Overshone, for instance, even Bland.
Yeah.
Bland's a guy they hit on and they paid, but now, he's been banged up and hopefully he can get back next week against Green Bay, but he didn't practice at all this week. So we'll have to see. Speaking of guys that hopefully are able to play against Green Bay, CeeDee Lamb leaving the game today with that ankle. Here was CeeDee postgame.
How are you feeling? Much better than the first quarter, I could tell you that.
It looked like you were kind of trying to talk your way back out there on the field at a couple of different points. What were they telling you, and why were they ultimately saying, I guess, no?
Yeah, this was like one of those protect me away from myself type of deals. So once I started feeling, much better, and then I started to get the strength back in my ankle as far as mobility and able to cut and real dynamic movements. I was ready to go back out there, but then they told me no.
How's the ankle now? Is it swelled up much?
It's all right. It's all right.
Do you feel like it's something you can play through?
For sure. Absolutely.
Jerry said he felt like you guys had gotten some pretty good news on the back end when you got back here to the locker room and talking to the team doctors or whatever. What have they told you about what actually happened and how you do?
I mean, that I'm able to continue to play. I feel like anytime you're able to sustain one of those crazy injuries as far as someone else falling on you or, things of that nature, I feel like it's a scary situation. And for me to come out on top, essentially, to say the least, I feel like that's good news.
Have you seen video of the play yet?
Nah, I haven't. What does it look like? I mean, you ain't got to show me right now, but.
Did you think it was going to be worse than it is?
Nah, I broke my ankle a lot playing basketball, and I think that's what it essentially felt like. But obviously with more body weight, guy was kind of heavy.
Broke or what do you mean sprain?
Sprain. Only sprain. I said rolled.
Oh, sorry. I said broke.
Nah.
You went back into level A. How did it feel when you did that?
I think that was kind of self-explanatory. I wasn't even able to go. So, I was rushing it a little bit there.
You've been a warrior. Obviously, you went through the AC joint for all those games last year. Where does that come from, that mentality to just push through these things?
It's always me. It's me. That's the type of player and person I am, all about resilience and giving maximum effort every single time that I'm out there and being a dominant factor. And once I felt like I wasn't even able to be that today, it stung a little bit.
There's CeeDee Lamb after, and look, CeeDee's tough as hell.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, you saw him play through that AC joint last year.
Every
we had a
time
caller.
it hit the ground. Yeah.
And it looked gross. I saw I think it was Nick Harris, Bobby Bell and Nick Harris. I think both had it out there. The still image of the bent. It did not look good.
No.
But thank God nothing's broken. And look, if CeeDee has it his way, he's playing on Sunday. But the Cowboys have some of the best in the business, and Britt Brown and Jim Maurer, and they might have to save him from himself. We'll see how it looks, and the swelling, of course, flying back home. And
they need him.
And he's going to want to be out there, especially this week. All the talk's going to be about Micah Parsons. He's going to want to be out there.
Need him. Need to figure it out. Need to figure out the tackle situation. I mentioned that.
Kenny Clark also being hurt.
Yeah, they need.
Hopefully that's not bad.
Yeah, this offense is going to have to be the difference, at least until they figure some things out. We keep saying that, but it's the truth. The 92 Cowboys defense isn't going to go walking through that door.
Number one defense?
No, it's not going to happen. I mean, they're going to.
What about your 2002 defense? Can we get that defense walking through the door?
Man, that was
a scrappy bunch.
That was a scrappy bunch. Mike Zimmer did a really good job with that crew. Actually, it's funny. I had Dave Campo over at the studio the other day.
Yeah, how's Dave doing?
Doing great. He's back in town and stuff, so it's good to visit with him. But yeah, this is offense. We all went into this game thinking high scoring. Even if it was the Bears, we were thinking high scoring. But we were also thinking high scoring for the Cowboys too.
I mean,
that's to me where the game got let down.
Yeah, I would never have thought if you'd have told me the Cowboys would score 14 points, I'd have said, well, did Dak get hurt?
4 turnovers? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, something would have been really wrong, but it just was not the Cowboys' day today. 31-14, Bears get the win. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus. Let's try to hit more of your phone calls. Appreciate everybody calling in and voicing their questions and opinions here tonight. Let's go to Holtham City. Dominic, been waiting. What's going on, man? How are you?
I just want to say thank you for taking my call. Big fan of both of you, Zach and Brian. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. If it wasn't for a kicker last week, we'll be 0-3 right now. Mm-hmm. Our defense is horrible, and it gets harder every week to stay a fan because I get more joy from the Cowboys radio station than I do from the Cowboys themselves. Love you guys. Tolo for life.
We appreciate you, man. That's very kind words, and I get it. Again, as I mentioned earlier, everybody's got the choice. It ain't a choice for me, and I think a lot of other people that are listening out there. We're kind of just stuck with it.
Yeah.
One day we'll be rewarded, okay, for our loyalty. One day it will happen. I don't think it's happening this year. Tony in McKinney. Tony, what's up?
Hey, boys. How we doing tonight? I know it was a tough game.
Yeah, it was tough, man.
Hey, so real quick, I just want to start off a little strong here, and then I'll finish easy. You know, what does Paul know from Wisconsin about Dallas Cowboy football? Am I right?
No, he's a longtime guy. He
was a big McCarthy defender.
Yeah, hey, listen, I have respect for everybody that calls. I really, really do. I just challenge people. That's just what I do. But he's called in a lot, and the guy's got some really good points.
No, but you're right, Tony. It's now Packers week.
It is Packers
week. Wisconsin.
No, he's not a Packers fan. He is a Cowboys fan through and through.
Okay, good. Well, Wolchuk, I'm a UNT guy, Dallas born and raised.
Here we go.
Got a lot of my buddies listening in tonight.
Right.
Just a couple points here. Yeah, I was the barbecue meat church champ tonight.
Congratulations.
I'm thinking about throwing it up right now, just because it was such a tough game, and my phone's on 1%, like a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans out there right now. And for the local guys here, we're under a severe thunderstorm warning, but I'm feeling like we're under a severe defense warning, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's not good.
And you know, just to kind of bring it down, one, I'm sick of seeing the back of Diggs' jersey, right? Every single time I'm in the kitchen and I'm prepping meals for my family, I'm seeing the back of number 7 chasing a wide receiver downfield, and that's a tough out.
Yeah.
I want to get excited about something on the defense. Is it Overshown? Is it Bland coming back? Right now I know Diggs is coming off an injury. I want to be fair to him, but it's tough sledding. And out of my buddy group and my family, look, I'm on Dak Island. Yeah, I don't think it's fair to put Dak out there every single night thinking that it's all on Dak. Did he have his best game? No. But I'm just looking for a little bit more from Eberflus. I was really excited coming into the year. Just want to hear from you guys on what your thoughts are. Appreciate it. Long-time listener, Tolo, baby. See you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tony. I'm with you on all the Diggs stuff. That's been very upsetting. He certainly looks like a shell of himself. Look, health also. He's had 2 big-time knee injuries. But when we're questioning like the desire and the want to, I've said it on our platforms as well. I think that there were certainly, if Diggs was healthy last year heading into the offseason, I'm not sure that he would be on the team right now. I think that they might have And you could hear the regret from the front office on the contract and how he hasn't lived up to that. And
he's not the only problem, though.
But no, I mean, we can go down the list of all 11. We can go 22 deep on this thing, the backups as well.
Start with the general manager. Start with Will McClay. Start with, and Schotty. And this is where I hope that Schotty's different than the Mike McCarthy's and, the guys before him, the Jason Garrett's. I hope he really does walk in there and has words and has hard conversations with guys. This is unacceptable on defense, but Schottenheimer, they need to find things that these guys can have some success at. And he's talking about maybe we need to simplify things. I don't know of any more simple than it already is.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe to me, I kind of feel like you need to figure out ways to not have it be so simple. But if they're having a communications problem, how it looks right now, and they're busts, with what they're doing right now, this team can't stop anybody.
No,
that's it. There is nothing exotic about what this Cowboys defense is doing right now.
No, and if you're down your best weapon in CeeDee Lamb, I don't know if your offense is going to be able to even keep pace, which was looking like that was going to be the one strong suit. All right, let's pause 10 seconds for station ID across the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Go low, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. Try and get through a few more calls here as the postgame show rolls on. Zach Wolchuk, Brian Broaddus are with you until 9:30 Central. Let's go to Frisco. Hakeem's been waiting. What's going on, man? How are you tonight?
Hey guys. Appreciate you taking my call. Broaddus, look up to you, man. Appreciate your knowledge.
Thanks.
Got two comments and a question. One of the comments is that Dak may not be elite, and I can accept that, but I think he's a very good quarterback. I'm not defending him, but I think, yes, he is a very good quarterback. And outside of Lamar, Patrick, and Josh Allen, name me all the other elite quarterbacks. I don't think that Justin Herbert's elite because he ain't won a playoff game. I don't think that Burrow is an elite quarterback because he can't stay on the field. And I think Jalen Hurts has just been surrounded by great talent. So outside of the three that I mentioned, I don't know of any other great quarterbacks. So that's my first comment. My second comment is related to the defense. Whenever I look at the linebackers, when I look at Osborne, even when I look at Murray, and I see those tight ends going down the seam, I'm like, is that the linebacker, or is that the tight, or is that the safety? Because these guys are just running right past them, and of course the defensive line is atrocious. And then when you look at Vince, you mentioned the draft picks. I mean, I was expecting Leofow and Marshawn Lynch. To make that jump this year.
Yeah.
And they have not
made
that jump. And then you ask yourself, okay, they're in year 2, this year ain't going too great. Then at year 3, year 4, it's like, I'm not going to give you a second contract if you average at best.
Sure.
Which leads me to my
now
to my
Dallas
question.
might.
Yeah. Which leads me to my third question. And Bryce, you touched on it. You've been in those rooms, Broaddus.
Sure.
Take us behind the curtain a little bit, man. Walk us in that conversation tomorrow morning, or maybe tomorrow night, whenever, or tomorrow, or even tonight, whenever Eberflus and Schott are having that sit-down conversation,
Sure.
man to man, over a burger like dog. What's up?
No.
Oh man, it's like, bruh, this ain't gonna work, and I'm not about to lose my job. And you don't want to lose your job. I mean, you got, as you brought up, as you were saying, you got to have that grown man conversation, like, bruh.
Yeah.
I appreciate the call, Hakeem. What would you say there, Brian?
No, I've been in. It even happens on the plane home. Matt. Schotty stands up, walks from his seat over to Matt's seat. The coach sitting next to Matt moves, and they sit down and start talking. All the coaches have the film on the iPads, and you're probably, they could be like, hey man, we need to figure something out. And listen, we're probably not helping you right now, but the injuries and stuff, but you want to give him an opportunity to say, listen, I can't call defenses because of this. You hear him out, but then you say to him, like, okay, I hear you. I understand. And then now it's Schottenheimer's chance to go up to Will McClay and Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones in that meeting they have Monday morning. And when they all sit down and watch the tape together, that like, okay, Matt really needs this.
Yeah.
Or Matt doesn't feel like we're good enough here. But the conversations need to be had.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely need to have conversations about, why are we so poor playing this scheme? Is it the players, or do we need to help them with better players, which will be really, really hard to do? But dumbing this thing down, I don't know if that's even better. I mean, it already looks dumbed down when they don't blitz or they really don't play well in coverage. How dumbed down do you have to make cover 2?
Yeah.
How dumbed down do you have to, they played man coverage again. I mentioned they were 4 for 4 tonight with a touchdown. How I can understand some problems there. This is very reminiscent to me of when Rob Ryan was calling defenses.
Right.
Very reminiscent of Rob Ryan.
And Rob Ryan also wasn't fired in season. They fired him after the season.
But it's very reminiscent of how the defense just does not look like it has anything it could really, really hang its hat on.
Yeah. Like what is the strength of your defense?
What is the strength of this defense? And it like I say, there were a lot of times where Rob Ryan he might have 10 guys on the field. He'd blitz, it wouldn't get home. There were guys uncovered. There were guys wide open. Man, there's a lot of things going on here on this defense.
I know David's been waiting. Andrew Booth, I can answer that question already. Andrew Booth's not on the roster. He was waived after preseason. Yeah. So Andrew Booth, where is Andrew Booth? He's not on the team. And that's probably he hasn't been picked up by anybody. I don't think Andrew Booth is really an NFL player for that question there, David. All right, we'll try and wrap up here with the rest of you who've been waiting on hold. We might not have time to get to everybody, plus we've got our player of the game. That's next. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Window Nation, the star of window replacement and proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. American Airlines, proud to be the official airline of your Dallas Cowboys. Ford, your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
But Prescott back to throw. Underneath to the right across the 10. Ferguson running hard with his 10th catch. That is a career high.
There you go. Jake Ferguson, that's our player of the game. He finished with a career high 13 receptions for 82 yards. That was tied for the fourth most by a tight end in franchise history. Those 13 catches, most by a Cowboys tight end since Jason Witten.
At 20 against, or 19 against the Giants?
18.
Against the Giants,
Against
right?
the Giants.
There you go.
2012. You had that, and 27 catches now for Ferg this year.
Yeah.
That's the most by any Cowboys player through the first 3 games of a season since Amari Cooper had 25 back in 2020 to start that season. So congratulations to Jake Ferguson. Now, 13 for 82. I think, we already had one call talking about the yak there. And we get Jake Ferguson on our weekly players show on the G-Bag Nation on the flagship 105.3 The Fan, usually around 5:20 on Thursdays if you want to tune in. And Ferg's one of the best personalities on the team. But I'll ask him about that. I'll ask him about the yak. And is there any frustration there? Because he's certainly getting open. But is he feeling like he wants to get loose? He does. As the Cowboys lose 31-14. Speaking of Jake Ferguson, here he was postgame.
Jake, can you just talk about the load as obviously CeeDee Lamb means so much to this offense, how hard it is to lose him?
Yeah, it's never easy watching a guy go down, especially, what's one of your best guys, one of the leaders on this team, and, that just also means at the same time other guys have to step up, and, sadly that's the game. Sometimes guys goes down, and like I said, other guys got to step up, so we just got to be better.
You had a chance to kind of see between when he was ruled out and the injury, it seemed like he was kind of lobbying and really trying to get back in there. Did you catch any of that?
Yeah, I talked to him after the initial play, and then I think he tried to come in after that, but, I know what kind of guy CeeDee is, and he's going to battle through some stuff. And, like you saw all last year, he's battling through. And, that's how I kind of knew it was bad. And at the same time, it's a 17-game fight. So, it's just game 3, and, didn't end how we wanted it.
Can you just expand on that? Like, he's the warrior, obviously, for AC joint last year. He just had to miss time in 6 years.
Yeah, that just attributes to what kind of work he does off the field for his body, what he does on the practice field. If you're flying around, you have a rare chance of getting hurt, and that's what he does. Is he flies around, and he makes plays. So.
What was the Bears defense doing that made it perfect that short over to you and just the tight end so involved with?
Yeah, a lot of man coverage, and having that relationship with Dak and just knowing, hey, this is where I need to be. That's just kind of where we went. And then talking about CeeDee going down, initially we got out there and that's all they were doing is doubling him. and having to work off that, getting in here at halftime, trying to figure out what we got to do to get open.
There is Jake Ferguson, Cowboys tight end, our player of the game, following this 31-14 Cowboys loss to the Bears. It is Zach Wolchuk and Brian Broaddus putting a bow on this one as the Cowboys falling to 1-2 on the season. Let's try and get a couple more calls in. I know you've been waiting patiently, so try and just get to your thoughts quickly. We'll go to Azel. Joshua's been waiting. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Love your show. I appreciate you let me chat.
Of course.
I just want to bring up some stuff about Dak, and I know it's a sensitive topic, and it is what it is. But I guess it's more for Brian Broaddus than anybody. He's a scout. He kind of sees things, and I'm hoping he sees the same thing I do. Is Dak cerebral enough to be an elite quarterback? Because it really seems first read's not there. I'm dumping it. I don't care how many yards I lose. We don't run anymore. All the things that we paid Dak for, it doesn't seem like we're getting them. I will say the dude played like a stud for 2 games, but I can't say he played stellar.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the call, Joshua. Cerebral? I think we've had questions about post-snap.
Yeah, pre-snap. Pre-snap. I think there's times where he gets fooled. I think there's NFL quarterbacks that get fooled by coverage. They throw balls and they're like, wow, where did that guy come from?
And did he always see this?
Yeah. I mean, that's, listen, Dak at Mississippi State was not one of these quarterbacks that drop back.
It was RPO.
It was RPO.
I mean, he was really a one-man machine. If you go back, he didn't have a lot of guys drafted that he played with.
Yeah, I mean, he's developed a lot as a quarterback along the way. But listen, today was a day where the things that I have a problem with, and this is where I think they don't help Dak, is trying to find ways to match guys up. That's the biggest problem I have at times with the offense. I used to do this in pro personnel.
Mm-hmm.
I had the ability to say, attack this guy, attack this guy, attack this guy. And I still have that ability to watch tape and say, you need to go after this guy. How does somebody have a perfect quarterback rating against a nickel corner and only throw the ball at him 3 times?
Right.
How do you do that? See, that's the things that bother me the most. Yeah, Dak, cerebral, not, dumb quarterback, whatever. But that's just dumb. It's just dumb preparation if you don't go after the worst players on these defenses, or you don't go after the worst players on these offenses. And if you don't take advantage of an offensive tackle that struggles, and just put pressure on him entirely, how do you expect to win?
Yeah,
they threw the ball 3 times at a guy, a nickel corner that's been getting crushed the last 2 games. How do you do that?
Yeah,
that just doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, not at all.
And Schotty, if he wants to have a conversation with Flus, he needs to look in the mirror too. All those coaches need to look in the mirror. You're going to offensively, you're going to have to score a lot of points. Last week, you had to score a lot of points to win. This week, you're going to have to do the same thing. And it gets to defense that wasn't playing very well. And you bailed them out. You bailed them out with the way you played.
Well said. I agree with you 100%. Let's go to San Diego. Adrian, what's going on, man? You're on the official postgame show of the Cowboys.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks for sticking around this long. Brian, I agree with everything you've had to say so far about picking the matchups, especially the way the Bears are. This is an 85 Bears defense that we're talking about here.
Sure.
One thing I will say that I noticed, and you could probably give me a better vantage point, did it seem like there was a little half-second delay with Hoffman snapping the ball in the shotgun, or was it just me? It seemed like Dak said hut, and about a split second later, the ball would go back. And I'm just wondering, is that the reason why Jake Ferguson got 5,000 targets? Is because they were getting a little bit of a head start on the offensive line, and it was just throwing the rhythm off a little bit. I don't know if it was just me watching that, but it seemed a little off to me. Yeah, I'm not sure what you guys think.
Yeah,
Thanks,
quick.
Adrian.
Yeah, thank you. It's a really good observation. But I looked at the get off times just to make sure.
Yeah,
Dallas was at 1.0 get-off times for their defensive line, the Bears were 1.21.
Oh, wow.
So the Bears were slower getting off the football today than the Cowboys were.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something going back and watching the all 22 we'll have to kind of, because
I'll look at it, but I know time off
just
snap.
Yeah.
Time off snap. I looked because I felt like that maybe, like, where were the Cowboys in relation? They were a 1-0. The Bears were 1-2.
That was a good question. I appreciate that call. All right, let's go to Amarillo. We got Michael who's been waiting. What's up, Michael?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Broaddus, I think they need to make you the GM or the scout for the team.
Here.
Good luck with that, sir. But thank you. I appreciate that. Go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah, you have a lot of interesting points. But one thing that I've been hearing a lot of the fans say, and myself, is why don't Will McClay put his pride down and just bring in Gilmore already? He's a defensive player of the year, tackling machine. He had 68 tackles for us. That's an average of over 4 tackles a game. He never got hurt. And another thing, Wilson is not a cover safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They need to bring in Wanye Thomas there.
There you go.
And put the best player available to play in the position, you know?
Yeah, they don't think Gilmore can run. They just don't think Gilmore has any more burst left in his body. I've asked that question. Yeah. It's
but in Minnesota last year, he played pretty good, didn't he?
Yeah, but I like to say, I'm just telling you what they're saying. They're looking at the tape. They're looking at the Minnesota tape. Please don't kill the messenger here. They're telling me they don't think he can run anymore. And as he was playing in Dallas at the end, he was slowing up that way too. So, but I'm just telling you, they don't feel like that he plays with any kind of burst or speed anymore.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
But it'll fit right into what they're going with right now. Anyway.
Right. No, I get it, because I was trying to preach the same thing in training camp, and I was told, like, whoa, hold up, Gilmore's not a realistic option. They're not. They think that the game's kind of slowly passing him by. But I agree with you, Michael. I thought for a team that won 14 games last year in Minnesota, he held his own. I mean, he was just solid starting corner, but.
Right.
Just, I don't think he's in the cards. All right, let's go to, let's take our last call here. Need you to be probably pretty brief. Kevin in Chicago. Kevin, what's going on?
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call. I appreciate it. I was at that game today, and, everything that you've done hit and said about the coaching, the offense, the defense, it was hard to watch that game live because with everything that was going on with the Cowboys. And it goes from the owner, Jerry Jones, will never go anywhere as long as he has a hand in picking who he wants. And our coach that we have now, he's just probably a yes sir, do what Jerry wants. We're not going to go anywhere.
Thanks for the call, Kevin. I think the line was breaking up just a little bit there. I'm not sure the
he was
phone
saying
quality was
a lot of yes men is what he was saying.
For like shoddy to Jerry. Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
That's a bummer, man. 31-14, Cowboys falling to 1-2. Certainly a lot of ugly. And as Brian Schottenheimer now has the midnight rule, get to midnight.
Yeah,
we got to turn the page on this.
Yep.
And we're going to hear a lot about Micah Parsons this week, Brian.
Yep, you can hear a lot about Micah Parsons and a lot about how to block him in this game. And now Dallas becomes the desperate team.
Yep.
Dallas now your team is the desperate team. You got to find a way to win a game against Green Bay at home. It's going to be very difficult, but it's probably going to come down to the offense again, having to move the ball.
And we'll have to monitor the status of one CeeDee Lamb.
Yep.
See how he's doing. If you don't have CeeDee Lamb, that's going to be a big-time loss.
Yeah.
Good thing is Cowboys have found a runner. Javonte Williams is the real deal. How does George Pickens perform if indeed CeeDee Lamb is not good to go, as he will be officially your wide receiver one? Do they find a way to get him the ball more effectively than they did today? But the rest of your division, they were winners. Now the Giants are losing right now 16-6 at home.
Jackson Dart in
Kansas City. Oh, Jackson Dart in the game for Russell Wilson, as they've only put. Now maybe this is one of those plays that they put him in like last week, but Washington getting the win today, and the Eagles coming back from behind. A blocked game-winning field goal for the Rams that the Eagles had to scoop and score. Jordan Davis with it to win 33-26. So the Eagles at 3-0, Washington at 2-1, Cowboys at 1-2, Giants possibly going 0-3 with a loss. Big thank you to Peyton Russell, crushing it as always, and a happy belated birthday, sir. Dylan Moore, Ross Lubinski, of course, Tim Collins, Gavin Spittle, and you, my friend Brian Broaddus.
You as well, sir. Thank you.
Crushing it as always. I am Zach Wolchuk. Until next week, 4 o'clock, official pregame, Cowboys-Packers. We will chat with you then. Until then, hugs and hand pounds, everybody. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Miller Lite, the legendary light beer.